Chapter 2051. The others didn't know what a Sir God represented, but for Qin Yuan to have such an expression, it was obvious that the Sir God was stronger than him. Old Master Yin rubbed his chest and took a deep breath. He actually asked in a gentle tone, "When did you break through to the God Monarch stage?" As soon as he said this, Old Master Yin suddenly realized that Yun was just a puppet. How could it speak? But what happened next shocked Old Master Yin so much that his heart almost stopped beating. "I'm not too sure about the specifics. I only know that I broke through after eating a few bolts of lightning." Yun, he scratched his head and changed his cold expression. "But the taste of the lightning wasn't bad. I really want a few more." Old Master Yun's mouth twitched. Sobbing sounds could also be heard from the surrounding people. Yun, he was a puppet, but he had his own thoughts. What did that mean? It meant that Yun Luofeng could create a human, but he broke through after eating a few bolts of lightning. He wanted a few more? What did that mean? Did he think that the lightning belonged to him? "Go!" Qin Yuan gritted his teeth and ordered. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, a loud explosion suddenly came from not too far away. Then, the lightning appeared. Yin Yi's eyes immediately lit up when he saw the bolt of lightning. He let out a low roar and quickly flew towards the lightning. His eyes looked as if he had just seen a delicacy and couldn't resist the temptation. Indeed, to Yin Yi, wasn't the lightning his delicacy? It could provide nutrition to his body. However, Yin Yi's power was already at the level of a Sir God. He would be a real god after that. Unfortunately, real god wasn't easy to break through. Hence, no matter how many bolts of lightning he ate, he couldn't become a real god. But in addition to breaking through, the heavenly thunder could also shape his body, making his body stronger. This was also a rare benefit. Qin Yuan's legs turned to jelly and his body trembled. "Sir God, another Sir God. Oh my God, what kind of monsters were around Yin Luofeng?" Even their Qin clan, after so many years of heritage, only had one Sir God. Qin Yuan didn't care about the Qin family anymore. He took advantage of the fact that everyone's attention was on the sky lightning to turn and run away. Seeing that Qin Yuan was about to escape, Qi Su immediately shouted, "Stop him!" In an instant, all the ultimate gods moved and flew toward Qin Yuan. However, just as they were about to reach Qin Yuan's back, he disappeared in a thin air. That's right, he had indeed disappeared. Furthermore, no one knew how he had disappeared. That guy escaped. Qi Ling was a little annoyed. If he could keep this guy, he might have a chance to go to the Divine Continent. Qi Su pursed his lips and did not speak. His eyes were filled with anger, and his handsome face became serious. "This," Lin Ruobai blinked. "May I ask, what does a divine sovereign represent?" She had only heard that person from the Qin family say that Yun Yi was a divine lord, and now her master's mother had also broken through to become a divine lord. However, she did not know what a divine lord was to them. Qi Su glanced at Lin Ruobai and said patiently, "Above deities are divine gods, and above divine gods are ultimate gods. That guy just now is an ultimate god. As for a divine lord, it's below a true god, but above an ultimate god." Chapter 2052. In this world, no true gods have been born yet. Therefore, a divine emperor is the most powerful existence. Qi Ling continued. Gasp! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Yun, he had become so powerful, even Bai Ling had broken through to become a divine emperor. Didn't Miss Yun tell you? Qi Su was a little surprised. Both Yun Yi and Little Worm have reached the level of Sir God. Although young Master Yin Shao is also a Sir God, to be honest, even if Yun Yi and the other Sir Gods join forces, they might not be his match. It can be said that young Master Yin Shao is already an invincible existence. Oh, there's also Miss Yin. Although Miss Yin is only an ultimate god now, her strength is comparable to a divine emperor. She defeated a divine emperor last time. Although Lang Xinyue was plotted against by Yin Shao, everyone present could see that Lang Xinyue was not Yun Luofeng's match. Therefore, it was not a problem to say that her strength was comparable to a divine emperor. Old Master Yin was a little dizzy. He had wanted to sacrifice himself and let Yin Luofeng escape. Who knew that his granddaughter's strength was comparable to the continent's strongest? The surprise came so fast that he could not react. Just when everyone was in shock, Yin Luofeng and Yun Xiao had arrived together. Bai Ling stood beside Yin Luofeng. The smile in her eyes disappeared when she saw the scene in front of her. Yin Luofeng saw the blood on old Master Yun's body at a glance, and his face darkened. What happened? Grandpa, why are you hurt? After saying that, she looked at the Qin family's experts. Qin Yuan had escaped, but the others were left behind. Therefore, they naturally received Yun Luofeng's anger. You guys hurt them? The corners of her mouth curled into a cold smile, and the killing intent on her body gradually leaked out. The Qin family smiled bitterly. They were brought here by Qin Yuan. In the end, Qin Yuan ran away and left all of them behind. This time, they would not just die without a corpse. Perhaps they would not even die in peace. Azure Wings. Yin Luofeng calmly ordered Yun Yi, who was following behind him. First, cut their bones into pieces. After they die, hang their corpses outside the city gate of East Continent. Let them face the East Continent Master Mansion and use their whole lives to repent for Hong Wan's death. These people had not only injured old Master Yun and the others, but more importantly, the Qin clan had also killed Hong Wan. From that moment on, she swore that she would use their souls to pay tribute to her. When the Qin clan members heard this, their expressions changed drastically. It was fine if they were to die, but in the end, they had to be humiliated by her after death. This was something that no one was willing to endure. Seeing those people's panicked expressions, the cold smile on Yun Luofeng's face deepened. You dare to kill my friend and invade the Yun family. You must pay the price for this. At that very moment, Yun Yi had already walked in front of them. Facing a Sir God expert like Yun Yi, everyone in Qin family had no ability to resist. After Yin Luofeng returned, the various factions of the continent had sent spies to the Holy Maiden Mountain, wanting to know his every move. Therefore, the news that the Qin clan had sent experts to kill their way into the Holy Maiden Mountain did not escape the eyes and ears of the various factions. When they heard this news, there was only one reaction in the hearts of the various factions, and that was that this time, Yin Luofeng was definitely going to die. Chapter 2053. But soon, another piece of news came. It was said that the masters of the Qin family who broke into the Holy Maiden tribe had been buried on the mountain of the Holy Maiden tribe. Yin Luofeng even tied the bodies of the Qin family to the gate of the East Continent city as a public display. This news scared everyone. No matter how they thought about it, they didn't think that it would end like this. The Lord of the South Continent was even more shocked. It must be known that when the East Continent sent people over, they were kicked out by him. It was to not get involved in this mess, and also to tell the masters of the Qin family that he had nothing to do with them. In his impression, Yin Luofeng could not fight the Qin family. But what was the situation now? The masters of the Qin family were all dead? Yin Luofeng still had such strong masters in her hands? Lord, the old man who had given the idea to the Lord of the South Continent was also shocked by this news. He said softly, "What should we do now? What else can we do? If it weren't for your idea, I would not have offended Yin Luofeng." The Lord of the South Continent's face was very ugly. He suddenly gritted his teeth and said, "Immediately send someone to the Holy Maiden tribe and take our family treasure to apologize." "Yes, Lord." Now, this was the only way to ease the relationship between the two sides. In addition to the Lord of the South Continent, other forces obviously thought of this and immediately sent people to the Holy Maiden tribe to ask for an audience. However, when they arrived at the Holy Maiden tribe, Yin Luofeng and the others had already returned to the Jun family. So, they could only come up empty. But no one was discouraged and rushed from the Holy Maiden tribe to the Jun family. At this moment, outside the Jun family's gate, there was a hubbub of voices. Everyone was poking their heads out, but no one dared to force their way into the Jun family's residence. The Jun family guard was like a door god, standing in front of everyone like a mountain, looking cold and serious. Miss Yun has said that no one will see anyone who asks to see her. In the face of the Jun family's unreasonable guards, no one dared to forcefully resist. In a weak voice, they said, "We have brought expensive gifts to see Miss Yun, to apologize for our previous mistakes. Could you please make an exception and let us in?" Apologize? The Jun family guard sneered. Where were these people when the Jun family needed help? Now that Yin Luofeng had returned and killed the experts of the Qin clan to set an example. In the end, these people appeared again. You want to reap benefits without facing danger? How could there be such a good thing in this world? What kind of status does our Miss Yin have? Why would she care about your gifts? Get out of my way. Everyone's expression stiffened. Indeed, with Yin Luofeng's status, she might not be able to take a fancy to the congratulatory gifts they had sent. However, these congratulatory gifts were already the most valuable things she could take out. Everyone. A man stepped forward slowly and cupped his fists. I'm from the South Continent. Our continent master has ordered me to present the South Continent's heirloom. Furthermore, I'm willing to have the South Continent listen to Miss Yun from now on. The South Continent's continent lord was smart for once. If he wanted to resolve Yin Luofeng's grudge, perhaps there was only one way. That was to be her slave for the rest of her life. Unfortunately, she thought too highly of herself. Yin Luofeng even had divine lords under him. How could he possibly care about a tiny South Continent? Sure enough, after hearing this, the Jun family guard smiled coldly. Who do you think you are from the South Continent? Didn't you run faster than anyone back then? When the East Continent went to the South Continent for help, didn't you still beat them out? Now you still want to be Miss Yun's slave? Dream on. Chapter 2054. The man's face was ashen. He had never been humiliated like this before, especially when the other party was just a guard. But who asked this guard to be a member of the Jun family? And the Jun family was under Yin Luofeng's protection? No matter how dissatisfied he was, he could only endure it. You really can't. Whoosh. Just as the man's voice was about to fade away, a cold and handsome figure swept in from the door. Yun Yi's strong muscles reflected dazzling light in the sun. He stood straight at the door, and a pair of indifferent eyes swept over the group of people in front of him. Whoever dares to stay here will be killed without mercy. As soon as the words "killed without mercy" were uttered, Yun Yi's aura spread out. His face was full of murderous intent. Just a glance from his murderous eyes was enough to make people tremble in fear, as if their hearts were being squeezed, making it hard for them to breathe. Get lost. As soon as this word was uttered, the group of people did not dare to stay. Like birds scattering, they quickly disappeared. It was as if they were afraid that if they left even a second later, they would be killed by this terrifying man. Yun Yi turned to look at the Jun family guards and ordered expressionlessly, "My master is resting. No one is allowed to disturb him. If these people come here to disturb my master again, don't let any of them go." The Jun family guards were aware of Yun Yi's strength, so of course they did not dare to disobey his orders. More importantly, they had long been unhappy with those fence-sitters. If it wasn't for the fact that the Jun family's authority forbade them from wantonly hurting people, they would have already done it. But now that they had Yun Yi, things were different. The eyes of the Jun family guards lit up at this thought. Jun family. On top of a rockery, Yin Luofeng's body leaned lazily against Yun Zhao's chest. Her eyes were half closed as she looked at the sun in the sky. "Yin Zhao, I've been fighting all these years. Moments of peace like this are rare." Her hand gently stroked her abdomen, the corners of her lips curling up slightly. Moments of peace like this were too rare. Perhaps only after he had completely dealt with his enemies would he be able to completely relax. "I'll accompany you. Whether it's in battle or in seclusion, I'll always be by your side. I'll never abandon you in this life." "And our child?" Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows and said with a faint smile. Yun Zhao frowned. "It's fine as long as I accompany you." He didn't want his son to disturb their time together. "What about him? In the future, we can have another daughter to accompany him, or let him find a wife. In any case, it was fine as long as he didn't pester his father." Yin Luofeng's eyebrows twitched. If this unborn child knew of this matter, he would definitely cry. before he was even born, he was already despised by his father. Of course, Yin Xiao didn't really despise this child. It was just that when children grew up, they would definitely have their own lives. At that time, he only hoped that he could be together with Yin Luofeng. He didn't want this child to pester Feng all day, master. Just then, Fire's excited voice sounded out from within his soul. Master, master, the dragon saliva tree has produced fruit. The dragon saliva tree was the congratulatory gift that Chen Yuqing had given her. This dragon saliva tree was special and required the urine of the ancestral dragon to grow. Fortunately, after being watered by the little worm, the ambergris tree finally bore fruit. Chapter 2055. Thinking of this, Yin Luofeng's face flashed with joy. What's the matter? Yin Xiao asked when she saw the joy on her face. The dragon saliva tree has grown fruit. Yin Xiao, let's go to the divine grimoire space now. In the divine grimoire space, apart from Hong Wan's corpse, only Fire and the little worm were looking at the dragon saliva fruit. Cha-Cha could not stay any longer and had already gone out to play with the small tree. The Rat Clan was not in the divine grimoire space either. As for Xiao Mo, he went on a date with Lin Ruobai, so he threw the task of guarding the dragon saliva tree to Fire and went on his own. As soon as Yin Luofeng entered the divine grimoire space, he found a towering tree. On the tree, there were vermilion fruits that looked delicate and alluring. Master, Bai Xiao appeared behind Yin Luofeng and looked at the dragon saliva tree with eyes full of hope. Can you give me a dragon saliva fruit to eat? If I eat this dragon saliva fruit, maybe I can appear in human form like the small tree. Yin Luofeng looked at Bai Xiao and nodded slightly. He plucked a dragon saliva fruit from the tree and threw it to Bai Xiao. Eat this dragon saliva fruit and tell me what effect it has. Bai Xiao's face was full of joy, but her eyes were full of disbelief. She had only mentioned it and did not expect Yin Luofeng to really give her the dragon saliva fruit. This was a divine item that people fought for thousands of years ago. Bai Xiao hurriedly swallowed the dragon saliva fruit. When the dragon saliva fruit entered her body, a storm of advancement appeared on her body. As the tree of life, its only use was to produce fruit of life for people to consume. Moreover, it was invincible inside the tree of life's body. However, that was not the case. To the outside world, Bai Xiao did not have much power and her strength was not very strong. It could be said that she was the weakest among Yin Luofeng's subordinates. However, after eating the dragon saliva fruit, her strength rose rapidly and only stopped when she reached the ultimate god realm. Yin Luofeng was stunned. A dragon saliva fruit actually had such power? It could help Bai Xiao break through to the ultimate god realm in an instant. Master, I think I roughly know the function of this dragon saliva fruit. Bai Xiao's eyes were filled with joy. After a long while, she calmed down and looked at Yin Luofeng. The power of the dragon saliva fruit is to stimulate one's potential without limit. But the consequence is that one will not be able to cultivate for the rest of their lives. In other words, even if Bai Xiao reached the ultimate god realm after consuming the dragon saliva fruit, she would not be able to break through in this lifetime. Even so, the effect of a dragon saliva fruit was still very strong. He was able to stimulate a person's unlimited potential. In other words, the highest level that Bai Xiao could break through in her life was the ultimate god realm. Even without the dragon saliva fruit, she could only reach the ultimate god level. Therefore, the dragon saliva fruit did not bring much harm to spiritualists, only benefits. Oh, that's right, Bai Xiao seemed to have thought of something and added, this dragon saliva fruit also has a limit. No matter how strong your potential is, you can only reach Sir God at most. It's impossible to break through to real God with the help of the dragon saliva fruit. Originally, Yin Luofeng had planned to let Yin Xiao consume it. With Yin Xiao's talent, it was only a matter of time before she became a true god. However, Bai Xiao's words were like a basin of cold water, calming Yin Luofeng's heart. Fire, think about it. Do you want to consume this dragon saliva fruit? Chapter 2056. I want to take it. Fire did not hesitate. It's not that easy to become a true god. I don't want to become a true god either. So, I'm willing to take the ambergris fruit. All right. Yin Luo Feng passed the fruit in his hand to Fire. Then you can eat it now. Fire nodded his head without hesitation. He took the soul fruit and consumed it. Her talent was impressive, so with the help of the ambergris fruit, she and Bai Xiao also broke through to the ultimate god realm. Yin Xiao, help me plant all the ambergris fruit on the tree. I'll improve the overall strength of the Yun family and the Jun family now. Unfortunately, Jun Fengling and Yi Jingxin were not there. Otherwise, with their talent, they might be able to break through to the Divine Lord realm. After leaving the Divine Grimoire space, Yin Luofeng asked Fire to inform everyone to wait for him in the hall. After giving the instructions, she and Yun Xiao slowly walked towards the direction of the main hall. At that moment, the hall was bustling with activity. Jun Lintian and Old Master Yun were talking about something, but their faces were full of emotion. Suddenly, the entire hall quietened down when they saw a handsome man and beautiful woman walking towards them. Little Yin, Xiao you're here? Jun Lintian smiled and spoke with a gentle look in his eyes. However, you've called us here in such a hurry. What do you want to discuss? Yin Luofeng shrugged and smiled at Yin Luo. Grandpa, I've recently cultivated a seed. I plan to let you eat it. A seed cultivated by his precious granddaughter? Old Master Yun's eyes immediately lit up. To him, anything his granddaughter produced would never be bad. Therefore, when Yun Luofeng stretched out his hands, Old Master Yun was like a hungry wolf pouncing on its prey. Without asking about the use of the fruit, he picked it up and took a bite. The fruit was full of fragrance and flowed between his teeth. Old Master Yun smacked his lips and swallowed the rest of the fruit without hesitation. He looked very satisfied. This fruit tastes good. How many more do you have? Give me a few more. Unexpectedly, as soon as Old Master Yun finished speaking, there was a loud bang and a storm emerged from his body, scaring everyone. This storm had been going on for a very long time. Even after reaching the high-level Saint Monarch realm, it didn't stop. In the end, he broke through to the Divine Spirit realm in one go. Yes, Old Man Yun had become a deity. This revelation stunned Old Master Yun. He still didn't know what had happened. He looked at Yin Luofeng in a daze. The others could no longer sit still and stood up one after another. Jun Lintian was so excited that he couldn't even speak properly. Is this a god? Old Master Yin had become a deity? That's right, this is the power of the gods. Gods? What was going on? Old Master Yun's potential wasn't great, but it wasn't too bad either. Although Old Master Yun's strength was low previously, that was because he was born in the most backward place in the Roaring Dragon continent. In addition, he was now old and unable to cultivate as he wished. If he had been born in a place like the Wind and Cloud continent, then the final level he could reach would be the Divine Soul. It was because the Roaring Dragon continent was too backward that his potential could not be stimulated. This is the Dragon Breath fruit. Its effect is to stimulate a person's potential. The level you can break through to depends on your own potential. Yin Luofeng's lips curled. However, the consequence is that after consuming the Dragon Breath fruit, you won't be able to break through for the rest of your life. Therefore, it's up to you whether you want to consume it or not. Chapter 2057. When everyone heard this, they were stunned. Yin Luofeng meant they also had a chance to obtain the dragon saliva fruit. Compared to the excitement of the others, Yun Xingya had been frowning the entire time. Perhaps it was because of the recent changes that had made his heart even more determined. Fenger, if you use the dragon saliva fruit to break through, will your combat strength be slightly weaker? Yun Xingya was afraid that Yin Luofeng did not understand what she meant, so she continued to explain. For example, if the old man uses the dragon saliva fruit to break through to the Divine Spirit realm, will he be the weakest among the Divine Spirits because he used an external force to break through? If that was the case, he might as well break through himself. However, Yin Luofeng's next words dispelled his worries. Second uncle, you can rest assured. Using the dragon saliva fruit to break through is no different from a normal breakthrough. The only drawback is that your body's potential has been stimulated. No matter how much you cultivate in the future, you won't be able to break through again." These words made Yun Qingya feel at ease. A faint smile appeared on his handsome face. "I want the dragon's saliva fruit." In fact, Yin Luofeng could more or less guess everyone's choice. Right now, they needed strength. Only with enough strength could they prevent the tragedy from happening again. Although Yun Qingya's talent was very strong. So what if it was strong? It wasn't that he wasn't willing to work hard, but the spiritual energy of the seven continents was unable to help them break through to the divine spirit realm. Facing a colossus like the Qin family, they had no way of resisting with the dragon saliva fruit. Things would be different. Even if Yin Luofeng wasn't by their side, they could still protect this pure land. Thus, after Yun Qingya's words fell, the others also expressed their opinions. "Cousin." Yin Ruoshui's eyes were very bright, and her gaze was filled with hope. "I also want to eat this dragon saliva fruit. I wonder if it's possible." Just as Yin Luofeng was about to agree to Yin Ruoshui, Bai Zhao's voice sounded in his mind. "Master, Yin Ruoshui is too young to withstand the power of the dragon saliva fruit. She can only eat it after she reaches adulthood." Hearing this, Yin Luofeng's gaze softened. He raised his hand and gently stroked Yin Ruoshui's head. "Shui, the power of the dragon saliva fruit is too strong, and you're still too young. However, I will leave one dragon saliva fruit for you to consume once you matured." Yin Ruoshui's eyes were a little disappointed, but after hearing Yin Luofeng's last sentence, they lit up again. "All right, Shui is very obedient. Wait until Shui reaches adulthood before eating the dragon saliva fruit." After comforting Yin Ruoshui, Yin Luofeng distributed the dragon saliva fruits to everyone present, except for Bai Ling. Bai Ling had already become a god lord, so the dragon saliva fruit was useless to her. Even if she had the potential to become a true god, the dragon saliva fruit would not allow her to break through. Mu Dong was a little stunned. He looked at the ambergris fruit in front of him and blinked. "I have a share too. You were Grandpa Jun's friend, and at a crucial moment, you chose to stand on our side. I, Yin Luofeng, will never mistreat those who choose me." There was a smile on the woman's face. Her voice was forceful, but it caused Mu Dong's heart to tremble. In fact, when they went to the sacred maiden tribe that day, they did not help at all. At most, they made preparations to confront the Qin family. But if they only acted this way because they knew Yin Luofeng's strength, then it was possible that they were trying to curry favor with Yin Luofeng. Chapter 2058. However, they did not know anything before this, did they? They didn't know Yin Luofeng's abilities, but they still came without hesitation when facing a colossus like the Qin family. Even if he wasn't able to help out in any way, Yin Luofeng still remembered this kind of friendship. Mu Dong no longer cared about them. He took the ambergris fruit from Yin Luofeng's hand and kept her kindness in his heart. Thus, at that moment, the sky above the Jun family was filled with continuous lightning strikes. The lightning lasted for 3 days and 3 nights before disappearing. Those who came to the Jun family to see Yin Luofeng had not left yet. They naturally saw the grand scene and decided to go back and tell their masters not to provoke anyone around Yin Luofeng from now on. Those people left in a hurry with that in mind. As they left, the news of what happened in the Jun family spread throughout the continent. The entire 7 continents were shaken because of it. Lightning? What kind of existence was that? Only the breakthrough of a divine spirit expert would attract lightning. However, there was not only one bolt of lightning in the Jun family. There were dozens of them. How could everyone not be shocked by this news? The people in the Jun family, of course, did not care about the voices outside. Yin Luofeng was afraid that the lightning would come too fast and the azure wings would not be able to block it in time. That would cause unnecessary casualties to those who were breaking through. That was why he asked them to break through in stages. That resulted in the lightning not stopping for 3 days and 3 nights. However, the effect of the increase in strength this time was significant. Most people had reached the heavenly god realm, while Old Master Jun, Mu Dong, Ning Xian, and the others had reached the ultimate god realm. What surprised Yin Luofeng was that Yun Qingya was indeed worthy of being the #1 person in Long Yuan Kingdom. Her talent surpassed everyone else and reached the Divine Lord level in one go. With Yun Xingya and Bai Ling's protection in the 7 continents, the tragedy of the past would not happen again. Old Master Yun was unhappy. His face darkened as he said indignantly, "Why did all of you break through to the heavenly god realm and even the ultimate god realm? Even my son has become a divine lord, but I'm only a divine spirit? Could it be that his talent was really that bad? No!" Old Man Yun glared at Yin Luofeng. "Give me another dragon saliva fruit." Yin Luofeng rolled his eyes. "Even if I gave you another one, you wouldn't be able to continue breaking through." Hearing this, Old Master Yun glared at her. "Can I eat it as a snack?" The ambergris fruit was a divine object, but Old Master Yun said that he wanted to eat it as a snack. In this world, he was probably the only one who could say such words. "If you aren't afraid of harming your body, I won't stop you." Yin Luofeng shrugged his shoulders and said with a faint smile. Old Man Yun's voice became quiet, and he glared at Yin Luofeng resentfully. "I was only joking with you. You can't be serious, right? Instead of the ambergris fruit, when are you going to have a baby for me to play with? Give birth to a child for him to play with?" The corner of Yin Luofeng's mouth twitched a few times. After a while, he calmed himself down and said, "Did my mother not tell you that I'm pregnant?" Old Master Yun, whose face was filled with resentment, was immediately dumbfounded when he heard this. What? Did he hear wrongly? His precious granddaughter was pregnant? Jun Lintian and the others hurriedly stood up as well. Their breathing quickened as they could not hide the excitement in their hearts. Chapter 2059. Mother, haven't you told them yet? Yin Luofeng looked at Bai Ling in astonishment and asked, "I thought you said it." Bai Ling was also speechless. Even now, they still hadn't told him about Fenger's pregnancy. Old Master Yun's expression was very sad. Such important news, yet they were all hiding it from him? "Second uncle, I'll have to trouble you with something." Yin Luofeng didn't dare to look at Old Master Yun's sad gaze and hurriedly changed the topic. "Go to the continent of no return and bring the people of the Yi family over. In addition, bring all of them back from the forest of no return." If the Qin family knew that they couldn't do anything to the Yun family, they might take a step back and find trouble with the Yi family. And she had to wipe out all possibilities in the bud. "All right," Yin Qingyao nodded. "In addition, send someone to find my parents, Yi Shima, Yi Qi, and the others and protect them. In this situation, it's very dangerous for them to be outside." The parents she was talking about were Yi Jingshun and Jun Fengling. Right now, she was most worried about them. "I understand. I will take care of this matter." Yin Qingya smiled faintly. Now that he had strength, even his words had become much more confident. "Mother," Yin Luofeng turned to Bai Ling and continued, "I'll get second uncle to find someone. As for the mission of protecting the old man and the others, I'll leave it to you. With you here, even if I leave this place, I'll be at ease." Bai Ling was slightly taken aback. "You're leaving?" Yin Luofeng nodded his head lightly in the face of Bai Ling's reluctant gaze. "The Qin family's actions are not only because I killed Qin Luo. There must be other reasons that we do not know. Therefore, Yin Xiao and I will make a trip to the spirit god continent. We cannot be in a situation where the enemy is in the dark while we are in the light." For some reason, she had a feeling that the Qin family's operation this time was definitely related to the people who had chased after Zhu Qian. Therefore, she had to make a trip to the spirit god continent. Bai Ling thought about how not only was Yin Xiao by her side, but she also had the protection of 2 divine lords by her side. "Don't worry. With me here, no one will be able to take a step into the Jun family." Yin Luofeng did not say anything else. She took out another 5 dragon saliva fruits and handed them to Bai Ling. "These 5 dragon saliva fruits are for Old Master Yi, Yi Qi, Yi Shima, and my parents. Mom, please give them to them for me." After everything had been delegated, Yin Luofeng and Yin Xiao looked at each other before walking out of the courtyard. "Feng, when are we leaving?" "Tomorrow." Yin Luofeng was silent for a while. She had only cared about increasing the strength of her family and had forgotten about the Steel Flame Legion. The members of the Steel Flame Corps had accompanied her since she was young. Their relationship was irreplaceable. Therefore, when Yun Luofeng returned to her courtyard, she summoned the Steel Flame Legion and the Rat Tribe. Even Cha-Cha, Little Mo, and the rest were called back. "Master, why did you call us back so urgently?" Milk Tea and the others had been staying in the illusory array, so they didn't know what had happened. As for Little Mo, Yin Luofeng had already used Soul Transmission to explain to him. Chapter 2060. I still have 30 dragon saliva fruits left. Other than my 5 masters at West Spirit Academy, I still need to leave 3 for the people of East Continent Prefecture. So, there are 22 left. Although the 5 masters at West Spirit Academy did not teach her anything, they had always treated her as a disciple. She could not forget this kind of friendship. As for the East Continent Prefecture, no matter what the elders were thinking, at least, Hong Wan had lost her life for the Yun family. Just based on this fact alone, no matter what danger the East Continent Prefecture faced in the future, she would protect them with her life. Not to mention 3 dragon saliva fruits. "Master, how do you plan to distribute these 22 dragon saliva fruits?" Little Mo blinked innocently and asked. "Little Mo, you Lil White, TT, and Small Tree will each get 1 ambergris fruit. In the Rat Clan, Mouse Queen, Milk Tea, and Ming Ming will each get 1 ambergris fruit. As for the Steel Flame Legion, Qing Yin, Yi Ling, Zhong Linger, and Long Fei, the 4 of you will come forward to get the ambergris fruit. This way, there are 11 left. Qing Yin will distribute them according to talent. Whoever performs the best over the years will receive a dragon saliva fruit." No one knew what the effects of the dragon saliva fruit were, but everything Yin Luofeng took out was precious. Therefore, their eyes were filled with anticipation as they looked at her without blinking. Those who did not get the dragon saliva fruit, do not be depressed. There will be opportunities in the future. When the dragon saliva fruit tree bears fruit for the 2nd time, I will leave this opportunity to you. After the dragon saliva fruit bore fruit once, it bore fruit a 2nd time very quickly. Of course, that was with the little worm's urine. Yes, Mississippi, Qing Yin beamed with joy. Her eyes were curved, extremely bright, and extremely cute. For more than a decade, she still could not change the way she addressed Yin Luofeng, Mississippi. But in these dozen years, Yin Luofeng had changed her. She was originally just a servant in the general's residence, often bullied. But because of her loyalty, she changed her life. Thinking of the past, Qing Yin sighed. The past was like smoke, making her feel like she was in a dream. It was so unreal after getting the dragon saliva fruit. "You guys go to the side to break through. Yin E, get ready. Don't let anyone get hurt." The power of the heavenly thunder was not to be underestimated. Many people were unable to persevere during the breakthrough and were turned into ashes. Therefore, at this time, they needed the azure wings to help them resist the heavenly thunder. Only then could they successfully advance. Everyone was stunned by Yin Luofeng's words. Could eating this dragon saliva fruit cause injury? Due to their trust in their master, they swallowed the dragon saliva fruit without hesitation. Only at that moment did they understand what Yin Luofeng's words meant. The heavenly lightning appeared once again, and the sound of thunder boomed as it ruthlessly struck down. Even the house was destroyed by the heavenly lightning. Fortunately, he had the azure wings, which allowed him to resist the heavenly thunder by himself. His tall and sturdy body looked especially bright under the heavenly thunder. Of course, Yin Luofeng did not let them break through at the same time. Otherwise, there would be too much lightning, and Yun would definitely be careless. When the heavenly lightning disappeared, those who had broken through were dumbfounded. Perhaps they didn't understand what was going on. Chapter 2061. Undeniably, the group of people under Yin Luofeng had become extremely powerful after being watered with elixirs for many years. Therefore, everyone had reached the ultimate god realm. If they were in the Fengyan continent, they would be experts in charge of a region. Yin Luofeng handed the last 11 fruits to Qing Yin. "Qing Yin, choose 11 people to eat the dragon saliva fruit. We'll leave this place after you've broken through. Yin Luofeng stretched lazily after finishing his sentence with a tired look on his face. Yin Xiao, let's go back and rest. After Yin Xiao heard this, she carried Yin Luofeng by the waist and walked into the room. She would leave the rest to Qing Yin. She was very confident in Qing Yin, cousin. Just as Yin Luofeng entered the room, Xiao Ruo Shui's little head popped out from behind the door. Her eyes darted around, and when she saw Yin Luofeng's gaze, a brilliant smile appeared on her young and tender face. Shui, what's the matter? Yin Luofeng looked at little Ruo Shui's childish face and asked gently, Cousin, it's brother Wu Yin who wants to see you, so I brought him here. Wu Yin? Yin Luofeng's eyes showed a touch of doubt, as if he did not know who little Ruo Shui was talking about. Cousin, have you forgotten? When we were in the Wuhui continent, Sister Yi Jun and I went to Medicine Tower to look for you. In the end, we were abducted and sold. Of those children who were also abducted and sold, only a small portion of them returned to their own families. Most of them stayed in our Yin family. As for Brother Wu Yin, he was the one who asked you to help him remove the seal on his body. Yin Luofeng had some impression after hearing little Ruo Shui's words. That day when they went to save little Ruo Shui, there was a young man among the crowd. Not only did the young man reveal her identity, he also knew everything about the Wuhui continent like the back of his hand. Unfortunately, his body was sealed, so he couldn't use his abilities. Later on, the young man asked Yin Luofeng to remove the restriction. Although Yin Luofeng accepted, she did not have the ability to remove the restriction on Wu Yin at that time. Therefore, she arranged for Wu Yin to stay by little Ruo Shui's side. Let him in. Yin Luofeng nodded in silence and said. Little Ruo Shui's smile was extremely bright. She turned her head and said to the young man behind her, Brother Wu Yin, my cousin asked you to come in. Don't worry, she's a good person. You don't have to be afraid of her. Yin Luofeng's eyebrows twitched after hearing little Ruo Shui's words. What kind of image did she have in the people's eyes? Why did Shui think the young man was afraid of her? After a while, a young man dressed in green walked in from outside. Compared to a few years ago, the immaturity on his face had faded a lot, and he looked more mature with each passing day. Miss Wu Luofeng said with a speechless eyes shone with a bright light. His eyes were filled with anticipation, but also with some fear, afraid that Yin Luofeng would go back on his word. Luo Yin of sect. Yin, I Luo he Luo. Yin Luofeng, Qin Yin. Luo Yin, Luo of Luo Yin, King Luofeng Yin, he Luofeng he Wu Yin Luo Yin, I. Chapter 2062. Wu Yin immediately knelt on one knee and said respectfully, In the future, Wu Yin will protect Eldest Miss with my life. With Yin Luofeng's words, he even addressed her as Eldest Miss instead of Miss Yin. His youthful and handsome face was filled with joy. Before I help you remove the seal, I have one more thing to ask you. Where are you from? Why are you in the Wuhui continent? Wu Yin stood up from the ground, his eyes filled with complexity. I'm from a spirit god continent. As for why I'm in the Wuhui continent, I was persecuted. Indeed, actually, when he had first met Wu Yin, Yin Luofeng had not seen anyone from the spirit god continent and did not know of its existence. Therefore, at that time, Yin Luofeng could not detect Wu Yan's true identity. But just now, when Wu Yan had entered the room, she had sensed that Wu Yan's aura was somewhat similar to Qin Luo and the Qin family members. Yin Xiao, looks like we'll need to delay for a few days before we leave. Yin Luofeng raised his brows and looked at the man beside him. He smiled faintly. I need to remove the seal on Wu Yin first. Yin Xiao's eyes were very gentle. A woman's figure was shrouded in his pitch-black eyes. The corners of his lips curled into a slight smile. I'll wait for you. Wait for you to venture into the spirit god continent with me. Should you go out first? Yin Luofeng looked at Yin Ruo Shui's reluctant expression and narrowed his eyes slightly. He scrutinized the youth standing in front of him. The youth's figure was as straight as a bamboo tree, standing there proudly. Oh! Yin Ruo Shui pursed her soft pink lips, looked at Wu Yin one last time, then turned and walked out. She even closed the door for Yin Luofeng. Wu Yin, Yin Luofeng crossed his arms and looked at the youth's proud figure with a faint smile. Tell me honestly, what's your relationship with Shu? Wu Yin was stunned. Perhaps he had not expected Yin Luofeng to ask such a question. After a moment of silence, he replied, Shu is still a child. I've always treated her like a younger sister. Although this was his answer, Yin Luofeng could see a flash of hesitation in Wu Yan's eyes. Is that so? She smiled and said, You're not much older than Shui. Do you really treat her like a younger sister? Speechless, he lowered his head in silence. To be honest, he wasn't very sure either. He only knew that the feeling of being with Yin Ruoshui was very comfortable. I don't care how you and Shu develop in the future. I hope that you remember one thing. Yin Luofeng slowly stepped forward, approaching the youth by 2 steps. The daughter of my Yun family is not so easy to marry. If you want to marry her, you must have the power to protect her, so that she will not be harmed for the rest of her life. Yun Luofeng's request to himself was not to stand behind Yun Xiao, but to fight alongside her. However, the reason why she worked so hard was to protect her family from harm. If Shui would be harmed after being handed over to Wu Yin, she might as well keep Shui by her side to protect her for the rest of her life. I will protect Shui. Wu Yan's expression suddenly turned serious as he said solemnly, I don't care what kind of background you have or where you come from. If you want to marry the daughter of the Yun family, you must be a couple for the rest of your life. You must never take a concubine. Otherwise, I will strangle Shui-er's feelings for you while they are still in a hazy stage. Chapter 2063. Yin Ruoshui was her second uncle's daughter and also her family. Even though she had not been with Shui-er for so many years, she had already taken her under her wing. How could she allow anyone to hurt her? If Shui-er and I really fall in love in the future, I'll fight for it. Wu Yin thought of his own family and paused for a moment before continuing Yin Luofeng's words. What if you can't fight for it? Yin Luofeng squinted his eyes and continued asking. If I can't fight for it, I'll come to the Yun family and become their son-in-law. Speechless sounded firm when he said that. If those people really opposed it or forced him to take a concubine, he would rather leave everything behind and accompany her to the ends of the earth. All right, I hope you'll keep your word. If you go back on your word. Yin Xiao, who was beside Yin Luofeng, released his aura as soon as he finished his sentence. Under that powerful aura, Wu Yan's face was a little pale and his body was swaying. However, he still stood firmly on the spot with his eyes blazing. This is just my request. You should know that Shui-er is the only daughter of my second uncle and second aunt. If you want to marry her in the future, you'll have to get my second uncle and second aunt's approval. Yin Luofeng stretched his body lazily. However, these are all matters for the future. I'll remove the restrictive spell for you now. All right. Wu Yan's eyes lit up. Indeed, the matter between him and Shui-er should be considered in the future. Although he had a good impression of Shui-er, it was just a good impression. No one knew what would happen in the future, right? Therefore, the most important thing now was to remove the restrictive spell in his body. The restrictive spell in Wu Yan's body was a little troublesome. The person who said it must be very powerful. If it was the previous Yin Luofeng, he would not be able to remove the restrictive spell for him. However, the current Yin Luofeng had already broken through to the ultimate god realm. The restrictive spell was not a problem for her. Even so, Yin Luofeng spent a whole day and night to remove the restrictive spell. The next day, early morning, speechless, he walked out of Yin Luofeng's room. He could feel the refreshing spiritual energy of the world, and his body felt so comfortable. A brilliant smile bloomed on his face. I don't know when I'll be able to return after leaving with First Mistress. Yin Ruoshui's young and adorable face surfaced in his mind, and the corners of his lips curled up. So now, I'll go and bid farewell to Shui. Yin Ruoshui's location was very easy to find. From afar, Wu Yin saw little Ruoshui sitting by the stream, looking bored. Little Ruoshui's arms were propped up on the ground, and her little feet were placed in the ice-cold water of the stream. Fallen flowers fell from the trees beside her and scattered onto little Ruoshui's delicate face. Shui-er. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded from behind Yin Ruoshui, causing her to stand up in shock. She looked at the youth in front of her, somewhat bewildered. The young man frowned. The weather is still very cold. What are you going to do if you catch a cold? Little Ruoshui was like a child who had made a mistake. She said pitifully, Brother Wu Yin, I was wrong. Not sure if it was because of Yin Luofeng's words. The young man looked at the pitiful and adorable little girl in front of him and suddenly had the urge to kiss her hard. The young man was shocked by his own thoughts and hurriedly shook his head awkwardly, afraid that he would really do something worse than an animal. Chapter 2064. Shui, I'm here to say goodbye to you. I'll be leaving with your cousin in a while. Little Ruoshui bit her lip, her bright eyes misty. Brother Wu Yin, when will you be back? I'll be back as soon as possible. Wu Yin reached out and rubbed little Ruoshui's head. His eyes were filled with gentleness. You have to wait for me here. Little Ruoshui smiled. Her smile was very bright, like a bright sun that illuminated the hearts of people. Brother Wu Yin, you have to come back quickly. Shui, or we'll be waiting for you at home. Looking at this little girl, Wu Yin felt a little reluctant to part with her. But he knew that no matter how reluctant he was, he had to leave her. Moreover, he wanted to make himself stronger. Only when he was strong enough could she rely on him. Wu Yin suppressed the reluctance in his heart and turned to walk in the opposite direction. He did not look back at Yin Ruoshui, afraid that if he did, he would not be able to bear to leave. As Wu Yin and Yin Ruoshui bid farewell, Yin Luofeng had also bid farewell to the Yun family. Under their reluctant gazes, he walked out of the Jun family's main door. After stepping out of the main door, Yin Luofeng looked back at the Jun family, then at the group of relatives following behind him. He sighed softly and turned to Yin Xiao. Yin Xiao, let's go to the East Continent first. All right. After saying this, Yin Xiao raised his hand and grabbed Yin Luofeng's waist. With a leap, their figures quickly disappeared under the sky in the East Continent Prefecture. Ever since Hong Wan's death, the entire East Continent Prefecture had been shrouded in a layer of sadness. Even the residents were affected by this atmosphere, becoming much more gloomy. Even the streets were not as lively as before. At this moment, Yin Luofeng stood outside the East Continent Prefecture. She raised her head and looked at the white silk that had yet to be removed. A trace of guilt flashed in her eyes. If I had come back a day earlier, perhaps Hong Wan would not have died. Unfortunately, she had still come to the banquet. You don't have to blame yourself. Yin Xiao pulled Yin Luofeng into her arms. She's dead, but it's not impossible to resurrect her. Instead of blaming yourself, why don't we think of a way to save her together? Yin Luofeng smiled faintly. You're right. No matter how difficult the road ahead is, I will not give up. Hong Wan cannot exist in this world. At this thought, Yin Luofeng strode into the East Continent Mansion. When the people of the East Continent Prefecture saw Yin Luofeng and Yin Xiao, they were stunned for a moment before they hurriedly went to inform Hong Ling. Not long after, Hong Ling slowly walked over from the courtyard in front of them. The elders of the East Continent Prefecture also came with him. In the beginning, these elders were against Hong Wan saving the Yun family. They were afraid that this would lead to the destruction of the Yun family. They didn't expect that Yin Luofeng would have such a strong cultivator in his hands. Moreover, he was an expert who had destroyed the Qin family. Furthermore, some time ago, the heavenly lightning above the Jun family's residence hadn't dissipated for several days and nights. It had shaken the entire continent, so it was impossible for them not to know about it. Thus, all the elders felt extremely fortunate at this moment. If Hong Wan hadn't insisted, they would have offended Yin Luofeng just like the South Continent. How could Hong Ling not know what these elders were thinking? They couldn't help but sneer. They hadn't forgotten how these elders had opposed Hong Wan when she had wanted to protect the Jun family. Now, after seeing Yin Luofeng's strength, they all wanted to curry favor with him. In fact, apart from him, was there no one else in the East Island Prefecture who mourned Wan'er's death? Chapter 2065. Hong Ling did not even look at the elders. She turned towards Yin Luofeng and asked, Miss Yin, is there something important that brought you here? Yin Luofeng nodded gently. With a flip of her hand, a vermilion fruit appeared in her palm. This is... Hong Ling was stunned and asked in confusion. Yun Luofeng's lips curled into a smile as he looked at her confused face. You must have heard about the heavenly lightning that struck the Jun family recently. Astonishment flashed across Hong Ling's eyes. She looked at Yun Luofeng's smiling face in shock. Do you mean that those people broke through to become deities because of this fruit? It was impossible for him not to know about what had happened in the Jun family. Now that he heard Yun Luofeng's words, he immediately thought of the fruit in the woman's hand. His heart immediately trembled violently. The elder's eyes were fixed on the dragon saliva fruit. Their expressions were filled with desire. Some of them could not help but gulp, wishing that they could just pounce on the fruit and snatch it away. That's right. They were able to break through because of this dragon saliva fruit. I left 3 for all of you. I brought them to you this time. Hong Ling fell silent. The effects of the dragon saliva fruit were indeed tempting. However, compared to the fruit, he wanted to revive his daughter more. Miss Yin, can you tell me if you had a way to save Luan, Er's body when you took it away? His eyes were filled with hope and entreaty, as well as the deep expectations of a father. Yin Luofeng raised his head and stared at Hong Ling's pleading eyes. In the end, he could not help but sigh. It's not that I don't have a way to save her, but I'm not very confident. Hong Ling's eyes lit up. Regardless of how confident Yin Luofeng was, his words had undoubtedly given him a great deal of hope. Thank you. Hong Ling's voice was a little choked with emotion. She took the dragon saliva fruit from Yin Luofeng's hand and said, I only need 1 dragon saliva fruit. You could take the rest back. It's better for you to leave such a precious item for the people around you. Although Yin Luofeng had only planned to give the East Continent Prefecture 3 dragon saliva fruits, they would still have 2 more after the Prefecture Lord took one. But now, the Prefecture Lord had given away such a precious item? At the thought of this, the elders looked at Hong Ling with grief and indignation. Hong Ling could feel the resentment in the elders' hearts, but she ignored them and pushed Yin Luofeng's hand back. Miss Yin, I'm really grateful to you. Even if you only have a sliver of hope, it's the same as giving me a reason to live on. Hong Ling gently closed her eyes. In the period of time that Hong Luan had passed away, this man, who was originally full of vigor and vigor, had actually aged a few decades. Even his straight back had gradually bent down. Once upon a time, Hong Ling had sworn to protect the East Continent for his entire life. For the sake of the Eastern Continent, he had lost the woman he loved, and even his most beloved daughter was forced to marry the son of the Northern Continent. If not for Yin Luofeng's appearance, perhaps he really would have made an irreversible mistake. However, he came to a sudden realization after Hong Luan left. What about the East Continent? What about the people? What about power? It wasn't as important as his family. If Hong Luan could return to his side, he would be willing to exchange the entire East Continent for her. Chapter 2066. You don't have to thank me. Yin Luofeng glanced at the pale-faced middle-aged man and spoke slowly. Hong Luan died to save my family. Everything I do for her is what I should do. In the future, if the East Continent is in any danger, you can always seek help from the Jun family. Hong Luan died to save my family. My family will do everything in their power to protect all of you. Hong Ling probably didn't know that it was because of Hong Luan's sacrifice that the Eastern Continent was able to escape the calamity that was to come because of the Yun family's protection, since Hong Ling did not need the other 2 dragon saliva fruits. Yin Luofeng did not force her. He kept the 2 fruits and bid farewell to Hong Ling before leaving with Yin Xiao. Hong Ling stood silently at the door and watched Yin Luofeng and the others leave. She did not return to her senses for a long time. Palace Lord, why did you reject the other 2 fruits? An elder asked angrily. The opportunity to increase their strength was right in front of them, but Hong Ling had rejected it. How could they not feel resentful? That's right, Palace Lord. Don't you know how much our East Continent Prefecture needs to increase our strength? How could you reject such a good opportunity? You should know that this is a fruit that can create a divine being. When that time comes, our East Continent Prefecture will have 2 more divine beings. Won't you be basking in their glory? Another elder's face was full of resentment. If the other party was not the East Continent Prefecture's palace lord, he would have started cursing and swearing. He had seen foolish people, but he had never seen anyone this foolish. Hong Ling retracted her gaze and swept her sharp gaze across the faces of the elders in front of her. Her lips curled into a mocking smile. Don't forget how many times you've tried to get Wan to chase the Yun family away while they've been in the East Continent Prefecture. If the Yun family had really been chased away, do you think Yin Luophone would have given us this opportunity? The elder was immediately silenced. After a long while, he said unhappily, but the Yun family was not chased away in the end. Eldest Miss even lost her life for the Yun family. Those fruits are what we deserve. Hong Ling's eyes gradually turned cold. First, Wan sacrificed herself of her own accord. She didn't ask for anything in return. I, Hong Ling, am not someone who would extort favors from others. Secondly, Wan and the Yun family are still in our East Continent Prefecture. That's because Wan is a god. You can't force her out of the East Continent Prefecture. If Wan was still the Wan from a few years ago, would you have allowed the Yun family to stay? All the elders fell silent. What the palace lord said was the truth. They did not chase away the Yun family precisely because the eldest miss was too powerful. They did not dare to do such a thing. However, if the first miss wasn't lucky enough to become a deity, the Yun family wouldn't be able to stay in the East Continent Prefecture. If that's the case, what right do you have to ask for the dragon saliva fruit? Hong Wan held the dragon saliva fruit in her hand as she sneered at the greedy faces of these people. When he saw that those people were looking at his hand, the coldness in his eyes deepened. What? You want to join forces to snatch my ambergris fruit? Aren't you afraid of the Jun family's revenge? After all, this dragon saliva fruit was given to me by Miss Yin. In other words, if they stole his dragon saliva fruit and the Jun family found out, they would definitely not let them off. As expected, the mouths of the elders twitched when they heard Hong Ling's words. None of them had the guts to snatch the fruit from Hong Ling's hand. Besides, Chapter 2067, Hong Ling was their palace lord. They would not have the guts to act so rashly. Palace lord, you've misunderstood us. Why would we steal your dragon saliva fruit? The reason why I said that was to make our East Continent Prefecture more powerful. It was not for my own selfish reasons. I hope Palace Lord can understand. For the East Continent Prefecture, Hong Ling's heart turned even colder. Her cold eyes swept across the shameless faces once again before she walked into the courtyard of the East Continent Prefecture. At this moment, the group of elders were filled with regret. If they had not opposed the eldest miss so strongly in the beginning, perhaps, the Palace Lord would not have been so heartless. In reality, this group of elders had misunderstood Hong Ling. Hong Ling had a problem with them, not because of their strong opposition. After all, their opposition could be taken as consideration for the East Continent Prefecture. But after Hong Wan's death, the group of elders did not mourn her death. Instead, they were thinking about how to curry favor with Yin Luophone. It's not wrong for you to want to curry favor with Yin Luophone. The problem is you've treated the Yun family that way. If you continue to behave in such a manner, wouldn't it give others the feeling that you're acting according to the wind? Hong Ling had not chased them out of the East Continent Prefecture. That was already good enough for them. How could she help them raise their powers? Yin Luophone was naturally unaware of the events that had transpired in the East Continent Prefecture. After she had left the East Continent, she immediately headed towards West Spirit Academy with Yin Xiao. Wu Yin silently followed behind them. In West Spirit Academy, Su Wu was lecturing a disciple in the Elder's Court. When he caught a glimpse of Yin Luophone walking in, his eyes immediately lit up. Cough, cough. Shuang coughed softly and said to the young man who had just been scolded, Wu Fong, you can leave first. Yes, Elder Shuang. The young man named Wu Fong heaved a sigh of relief and walked out of the Elder's Court. Vaguely, he could hear Elder Emptiness's laughter behind him. Little Yin, why are you here? Wu Fong paused in his steps. His eyes carried a trace of doubt. He knew his master's character very well. Why had he ever laughed so carefreely? What was the background of this girl whom he had addressed as Little Yun? What? Shuang glared at the emptiness. Can't Feng come back to see us old people? No, that's not what I meant. Our precious disciple came too suddenly. It's a pleasant surprise. Emptiness touched his nose and explained weakly. Wu Feng, who had already left the Elders' Council, suddenly stopped in his tracks when he heard this. Yin Lass? Feng, or a disciple of a few elders. Could it be? This was the peerless genius that shook the world, Yin Luo Feng? Wu Feng's heart started beating rapidly. He couldn't contain his excitement at all. Heavens, so that genius was really a disciple of their academy, and he had even met her face to face. He really wanted to ask for an autograph. What was he supposed to do? However, when he thought of his master's savage personality, Wu Feng did not have the guts to step into the Elders' Council again. Little Yun, you are more considerate. Emptiness suddenly sighed. Unlike my new disciple, at that time, I felt that his talent wasn't bad. Although he couldn't compare to you, who knew that this kid loved to cause trouble. Chapter 2068. Shuang covered her mouth and laughed. It seems that Feng also caused quite a bit of trouble when he was around, but I've never seen you reprimand him. Shu rolled his eyes, his expression full of pride. Of course, even when a Yun girl caused trouble, she was still so outstanding. How could I bear to reprimand her? The corner of Yun Luofeng's mouth twitched. He glanced at Yin Xiao next to him, as if asking if she was really that easy to cause trouble. Yin Xiao had always been an honest and good child, so under Yun Luofeng's murderous gaze, she still nodded. But he added in the end, you can cause as much trouble as you want, I will support you. Even if you poke a hole in the sky, I will use my shoulder to prop up the sky for you. Yin Xiao didn't say words of love, but when she did, it was amazing. Even these old guys who had lived for nearly 100 years couldn't help but look at the man in front of them with a look of admiration. And Yin Luo Feng also put away the murderous look in his eyes when he said this. It's been so many years, but you two are still so lovey-dovey. Have you ever considered the feelings of us single dogs? There was a touch of awkwardness on Xu Wu's face. He put his fist to his mouth and coughed. But Yin girl, you have always been very busy. You never come to me without a reason. Tell me, what did you come to us for this time? Yin Luo Feng raised his lips. Do you know what happened to the Jun family some time ago? What happened? It's because of the heavenly thunder. The heavenly thunder first lasted for 3 days and 3 nights, and it only stopped for a short while before it started again. So, it was impossible for these elders not to have heard of such a major incident in the Jun family. Shui Ying's eyes flashed. Feng, so many people in the Jun family have broken through to the divine spirit. Was it you who did it? That's right. Yin Luo Feng chuckled and took the 5 dragon saliva fruits. These are dragon saliva fruits. You can also break through after you eat them, but not to the divine spirit, but above the divine spirit. As for what realm you can break through to, it depends on your own potential. What? Not the divine spirit? Above the divine spirit? The few elders were scared silly, and they all looked at Yin Luo Feng in astonishment. These 5 dragon saliva fruits are for you. I still have 2 more here. If you see Ji Jiutian and Hu Li, please pass them on to them. Yin Luo Feng saw that these old men were all stunned in place, so he put the dragon saliva fruit on the table and took out 2 more. When all the dragon saliva fruits were laid out on the table, the old men finally came to their senses and immediately pounced on the dragon saliva fruits. From time to time, there were even sounds of quarreling. Fuck, what are you guys fighting for? Everyone has a share. Don't take mine away. Emptiness, you damned old man. You like to fight with me for everything. Let me tell you, my potential is stronger than yours. Wait until I break through to a higher level than you. Just wait and see how I teach you a lesson. We still don't know who's stronger or weaker. Don't be too full of yourself. After Yin Luo Feng put down the dragon saliva fruits, he turned and left, so he did not pay attention to the quarreling voices behind him. When they got the dragon saliva fruits, they realized that Yin Luo Feng and his group had already gone far away. They probably did not expect that snatching this girl as a disciple back then would lead to such a generous reward in the future. Chapter 2069. She's already gone. Shuang sighed softly and smiled bitterly. In this life, we owe her too much. To be honest, The few of them had not done much for Yin Luofeng. They had only chosen to stand by her side when she was in trouble. But because of this choice, Yin Luofeng had to repay them in such a way. Perhaps accepting her as a disciple was the best thing I've done in my life. Outside West Spirit Academy, Yin Luofeng stopped and turned to look at the youth behind him. Since you're from the Spirit God continent, do you have a way to enter the Spirit God continent? The speechless youth nodded. Only the people of the Spirit God continent know the way to enter the Spirit God continent. Moreover, you must have a token from the Spirit God continent to pass. Outsiders cannot enter the Spirit God continent. It's good that you have a way. Then let's set off for the Spirit God continent now. Spirit God continent. Qin family. In the peach forest at the back of the mountain, a woman sat on a stone, letting the fine peach blossoms fall on her shoulders. Her fine black hair fell behind her, blending into the peach blossoms in the forest. At this moment, the sound of footsteps came from behind her. She did not even lift her eyelids, as if she did not notice the people behind her. Fei-er. The man's voice was filled with infinite affection as it sounded from behind her. What's the matter? Mu Qingfei's voice was tired. She did not even turn her head. Fei-er. Guess who I met when I left the Spirit God continent? Qin Yuan was not angry. He slowly walked from behind Mu Qingfei to stand in front of her. At this moment, he had changed from the fierceness and arrogance that he had when he killed his way into the Sacred Maiden clan. Instead, he was like a handsome young master. I saw a little girl. Her name is Lin Ruobai. She looks very similar to you. She is also the young clan leader of the Sacred Maiden clan. A light flashed in Qin Yuan's eyes as he slowly said. Sure enough, when she heard this, Mu Qingfei's cold and distant face finally changed. She stood up with a swoosh, her eyes filled with nervousness. You saw my daughter? Fei-er, you've been too lonely here all these years. How about I help you bring her here? Qin Yuan's voice was full of tenderness. As long as you can smile, I don't care if she was born by you or another man. As long as you have me in your life, that's enough. After the initial excitement, Mu Qingfei calmed down again. You restricted my freedom, and now you want to take away my daughter's freedom? I won't let you have your way. Fei-er, why are you so stubborn? For you, I've withstood so much pressure and haven't taken a wife or a concubine for many years. Why are you unwilling to accept me? Qin Yuan took 2 steps closer to Mu Qingfei. His tone didn't have any anger, but helplessness. Why don't you tell me what I have to do for you to accept me? Mu Qingfei gradually closed her eyes. In this life, there is only one man in her life. In that case, how could she accept anyone else? Fei-er, do you know what your daughter is going through right now? A sinister look flashed in Qin Yuan's eyes, but it was fleeting. He said in a gentle tone, your daughter was deceived and willingly became that person's slave. Even the entire Sacred Maiden clan is now aware of her. So, in this case, how can you not want to bring your daughter here? Chapter 2070. Mu Qingfei's body stiffened and her clenched fists trembled slightly. Fei-er, you must believe that no matter what I do, it's all for your own good. For my own good? If you want to help me, then let me go. Mu Qingfei suddenly opened her eyes. Her eyes were like torches and her gaze was sharp. Except for this condition, I will agree to anything else. Qin Yuan furrowed his brows. Think about it carefully. If you're willing, I'll immediately bring your daughter here and let you two reunite. I still have to report the situation to my father. I'll come find you later. He finally looked at Mu Qingfei and turned to walk down a mountain. Mu Qingfei looked coldly in the direction of Qin Yuan's departure, and her eyes were filled with hatred. If it wasn't for the Qin family, she wouldn't have been separated from her family. It was the Qin family that separated her family and trapped her here for so many years. She only had hatred for the Qin family and the man in front of her. As long as she was given a chance, she would overthrow the entire Qin family. They would never be able to rise again. In the main hall of the Qin family, an old man sat upright. He looked at the man who was walking towards him under the sunlight, and his eyes gradually darkened. You went to the back mountain again? Qin Yuan was taken aback. Father Umph. The old man snorted coldly, his face expressionless. Because of a woman, you became like this. Not only did he run to the back of the mountain when he had nothing to do, he had not taken a single concubine in all these years. How can you face the Qin family? Father, after meeting Fei, your son no longer wants to love another woman. Qin Yuan smiled bitterly. Back then, he was also a young genius of the spirit god continent. Many women dreamed of marrying him. Who knew that after he met Mu Qingfei, he could no longer fall in love with anyone else? If you like her, why don't you just force yourself to marry her? The old man's expression became increasingly unhappy. Is it worth it for you to become like this? No. Qin Yuan shook his head. I don't want to force her. I want her to marry me willingly. Father, I can listen to you for the rest of my life, but for her, I want to fight for it myself. The old man was so angry that his face turned red. He angrily pointed at him and wanted to curse, but for a moment, he couldn't say anything. After a long time, he took a deep breath and said, Tell me, I asked you to bring that woman back. Why are you the only one who came back? Where are the rest of the Qin family? Qin Yuan's face darkened slightly at the mention of this matter. There was obvious humiliation on his face, as if he could not bear to talk about it. Apart from me, everyone else is dead. What? The old man stood up in shock, his hands trembling incessantly. Impossible. It's just a small abandoned land. How could there be such a powerhouse? You think you can wipe out the entire Qin clan? Yuan, tell me everything that happened in full detail. Then, Qin Yuan told the old man everything that had happened when he went to the Sacred Maiden tribe. Of course, Lin Ruobai wasn't aware of what was going on. Otherwise, if his father knew of Lin Ruobai's existence, it would be even more impossible for him to marry Fei. The old man's legs trembled as he listened to Qin Yuan's story. He sat down a chair and grabbed the handle of the chair tightly. There's a divine lord in that abandoned land? I've really underestimated this woman. Chapter 2071. Divine Lord. Even in the spirit god continent, there are only a handful of them. Father, what should we do next? Qin Yuan asked with a frown. Immediately send out a message and inform all the divine lords in the spirit god continent to deal with Yun Luofeng. No matter how strong the people around her are, they can't resist so many divine lords. The old man quickly calmed down and ordered without batting an eyelid. What's the reason? The spirit god continent was one entity. If an expert was born in that forsaken land, the other divine lords couldn't just sit back and watch. But the problem was that as long as Yun Luofeng didn't kill anyone in the spirit god continent, that group of people wouldn't meddle. The old man frowned and pondered. Tell that group of people that Yun Luofeng already knows of the existence of the spirit god continent, and even provoked them. When the Qin family learned of this, we went to talk to her, who knew that she would attack and kill the experts of the Qin family. She even claims that she wants to be the ruler of the spirit god continent. Those divine lords are also greedy for life and afraid of death. Yun Luofeng's talent isn't bad, and she has 2 divine lord experts in her hands. She will definitely make many people fear her. As such, we can only strangle her while she is still budding. The old man's eyes were filled with murderous intent as he sneered. He didn't believe that he couldn't deal with that woman. Father, should we send a message to the Ancestral Dragon Clan? The Ancestral Dragon Clan was extremely powerful in the spirit god continent. However, something seemed to have happened to the Ancestral Dragon Clan many years ago. As a result, all the dragons of the Ancestral Dragon Clan had gone into seclusion and hadn't appeared on the continent for many years. All right, the old man pondered for a moment and said, as long as you tell the Ancestral Dragon Clan that I know about the eldest lady of the Ancestral Dragon Clan, they will immediately come to help. Qin Yuan looked at the old man in surprise. He was very smart and didn't ask anything. After responding, he left. While the Qin family was busy dealing with Yun Luofeng had come uninvited and stood on the land of the spirit god continent. The spirit energy in the spirit god continent is indeed very rich. It's even worse than the wind cloud continent. No wonder the wind cloud continent can't produce a divine lord. Just as Yun Luofeng finished speaking, the little bug that had been staying in the divine grimoire space all this time became restless. Yin Luofeng had no choice but to let out. In an instant, Little Worm's body was enveloped by a burst of light. When the light dissipated, an extremely beautiful little boy appeared by her side. Little bug, you can transform into a human? Yin Luofeng was surprised. Having known the little worm for so long, this was the first time she had seen him in human form. Little Worm rolled his eyes. Because she looked very cute, even if she rolled her eyes, she still looked very cute. I'm just too lazy to appear in human form. Also, this spirit god continent is my homeland. Can you change my name? What if the other clansmen heard this? Where would I put my face? Yin Luofeng acted as if he had not heard Little Worm's words and turned to look at Yin Xiao. Where are we going next? Just as Yin Xiao was about to reply, he suddenly felt a strong, murderous intent. This murderous intent caused his eyes to turn extremely vigilant. He instantly pulled Yin Luofeng into his arms. Be careful. Chapter 2072. Just as he finished speaking, a pain dragon's roar rang out from the void. The dragon's roar sounded like it was weeping blood, filled with grief, anger, and pain. For some reason, this dragon's roar caused Little Worm's body to tremble. It tugged at Yin Luofeng's sleeve tightly and said, Master, save her, please save her. In the azure blue sky, a few powerful cultivators were surrounding a giant white crystal dragon. The steel tridents in their hand were pierced fiercely into its body. Fresh blood seeped out from the thick dragon scales and rained down from the sky like bean-sized raindrops. Roar! The giant dragon let out a furious roar of grief, and the entire world shook. The sky seemed to be responding to its pain. The initially azure blue sky was instantly filled with lightning and thunder as lightning tore through the void. Back then, it had suffered such heavy injuries, but it still managed to escape. Let's quickly capture it now. If the other dragons of the Ancestral Dragon Clan find out about this, we'll definitely be punished. TSK, this dragon's skin is really thick. It's still alive even after all that. Furthermore, it still had the chance to escape after being forced to cough up over 10 drops of essence blood over the past 3 months. A dragon's essence blood was extremely precious. If one drop was lost, they would need to rest for at least a few months before they could recover. However, this group of people had forced this dragon to cough up over 10 drops of essence blood over the past few months. This was equivalent to them exhausting their lives. More importantly, the dragon coughing up essence blood was as if its bone marrow had been sucked out. One could imagine the agony. The giant crystal dragon twisted its massive body and swept its thick tail towards the group of humans. It was very powerful, and with one sweep, the group of humans stumbled back in exhaustion. Taking this opportunity, the giant dragon turned and tried to escape. However, the group of humans quickly regained their senses and chased after it again. They used the tridents in their hands to stab the giant dragon's tail fiercely. Roar! The intense pain caused the giant dragon's entire body to tremble. Fresh blood had already dyed the sky red. Its body finally could not hold on any longer and plummeted from the sky. It crashed into the forest with a loud thud and flattened the entire forest. A bean-sized tear rolled down from its eye and turned into pearls as it rolled onto the ground. Its eyes were filled with despair and indignation. Its massive body had become unable to move due to excessive exhaustion. Was he finally going to die? It turned out that even death had become an extravagant hope for it. The gigantic dragon slowly closed its eyes. Just as its eyelids were about to close, a snow-white silhouette landed in front of it. She looked like a celestial being. Her white robes fluttered in the wind. Her expression was gentle, and even her voice was pleasant to the ears. Yin Xiao, deal with this group of people. I'll treat this ancestral dragon's injuries first. This was the last thing the dragon heard before it fainted at this moment. It felt that its persistence was not wrong. As long as there is kindness in one's heart, it will be rewarded. The lightning and thunder also disappeared along with the dragon's coma, and the sky gradually became dusk. When the dragon woke up, a beautiful little boy stuck his head in front of it and said with a smile, "My kind, you're awake?" Same kind? The dragon's eyes were filled with confusion. Was he calling her? Oh, right. Suddenly, the dragon seemed to remember something. Its mind shook, and it hurriedly looked around. When it saw the white-robed woman sitting quietly on the tree, it relaxed. Chapter 2073. Thank you. The giant dragon's voice was not as rough as its body. Instead, it was exceptionally clear and melodious, like an aureole that could move one's heart and soul. Master, mistress, this dragon has woken up. Little Worm cried out excitedly. Very soon, Yin Luofeng and Yun Xiao had already reached the front of this giant dragon. The giant dragon's eyes never left Yun Luofeng. Its piercing gaze made Yun Xiao frown involuntarily. Why were those people chasing after you? Yin Luofeng swept his gaze across the giant dragon and asked lazily. The giant dragon's eyes darkened. Those people were from the human Cheng family. Back then, when the eldest lady of the Cheng family was in danger outside, I'd stepped in to save her. She was very grateful to me and allowed me to return to the Cheng family with her. She even gave me a very delicious soup to drink. After I drank the soup, I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I found myself locked in a cage. Those people forced me to spit out my essence and blood every day. I refused, so they stabbed me with swords, burned me with soldering irons, and used things to scrape my dragon scales. I took advantage of the time when their guard was weak to escape. If I had not run into you, I'm afraid I would have met with misfortune. This giant dragon's body was indeed riddled with wounds. A few parts of its body were missing dragon scales, causing its bloody flesh to be exposed. Now, with new injuries on top of old ones, it looked especially wretched. Are you talking about the Cheng family? Wu Yan's gaze turned cold and his breathing quickened. His emotions fluctuated greatly, and Yin Luofeng turned to look at him. However, Yin Luofeng did not ask any questions. Everyone had their own secrets. If Wu Yan was unwilling to talk about it, he would not probe further. However, he could guess that the Cheng family and Wu Yan were closely related. Perhaps Wu Yan was from the Cheng family, and the people who had hurt him were also from the Cheng family. This group of people has really crossed the line. Little Worm was so angry that his face turned red. He said fiercely, I think that group of people from the Cheng family are not fit to be humans. They can't even compare to us spiritual beasts. At least spiritual beasts would never return kindness with enmity. The dragon blinked. My name is Long Luo. What are your names? This is my master, Yin Xiao. The one who saved you is my mistress, Yin Luofeng. Don't think that my master is a man. In reality, mistress has always been the one who calls the shots in the family. In the future, you just need to curry favor with mistress. As for me, Little Worm coughed lightly. What kind of name should he come up with to attract the attention of the female dragon? In any case, the Little Worm was definitely out of the question. However, before Little Worm could think of a domineering name, Yin Luofeng said, You can just call him Little Worm. At that moment, Little Worm's face was so black that it could drip blood. There was no need to mention the resentment in his eyes as he looked at Yin Luofeng. He wanted to woo this female dragon, so why did his master have to ruin his plans? Was he going to be a single dragon forever? Long Luo giggled. She accidentally pulled the wound on her body and gasped in pain. Recuperate here first. Once you've recovered, I will send you away, Yin Luofeng said calmly as he glanced at Hua Luo. Long Luo was stunned. She lowered her head and replied in an extremely weak voice, I'm not going back. I want to leave with you. Chapter 2074. Yin Luofeng fell silent. Seeing Yin Luofeng's expression, Long Luo thought that she did not agree to let her stay. She immediately became nervous and said carefully, I know everything. I can even be your guard. Can you let me stay? Perhaps it was Long Luo's voice that finally made Yin Luofeng move. She raised her brows slightly and looked at the giant dragon in front of her. It's not very convenient for you to follow me like this. We're here to take care of some matters. If you follow us in this form, I'm afraid you'll attract too much attention. Long Luo's eyes were bright, as if they were filled with mist. When my injuries have healed, I can transform into a human. For now, I can mimic. Giant dragons were born with the ability to enlarge or shrink. Just like how Little Worm often appeared in the form of a worm, Long Luo could naturally do the same. All right, Yun Luo Feng said calmly. If you can hide, I'll let you follow us. Long Luo's heart leaped with joy. Then, her body was enveloped in a layer of light. Then, under everyone's gaze, her body began to gradually shrink. In just a moment, the giant dragon just now had turned into a crystal-clear little snake in the blink of an eye. The little snake stuck out its tongue and licked Yun Luofeng's hand. Its bright, large eyes were filled with gratitude. Yin Xiao, let's go. Yun Luofeng picked up Long Luo and let her coil her body around her wrist. Then, she looked up at the man beside her with a faint smile. Mistress. Seeing that Yun Luofeng and the others were about to leave, Little Worm hurriedly chased after them, as if afraid of being left behind. After a while, the figures of the group disappeared into the forest. Only the bodies lying behind them proved that someone had been here before. The Chung family. In a luxurious and exquisite mansion, a dignified and beautiful woman sat upright. She wore a light yellow dress and looked noble and inviolable. What's wrong? You still haven't caught that dragon? The woman frowned slightly. Her tone was already extremely impatient. Eldest miss, I've already sent people to chase after Long Luo. Long Luo is heavily injured and can't have escaped far. The guard at the side said respectfully, a bunch of useless things. You can't even guard this dragon. Cheng Gaoya slammed the table angrily and stood up. Her expression was furious, and her eyes were filled with raging fury. I'll give you 3 days to bring Long Luo back to me. Everyone in the hall was silent. It was a long while later before a weak voice sounded from within the crowd. Eldest miss, I don't think it's a good idea for us to do this. Putting aside the fact that Long Luo is a member of the ancestral dragon clan, he has also saved your life before. We've already obtained enough essence blood. Why don't we spare his life so that he doesn't commit too many sins? The old man sighed softly. He wanted to persuade Cheng Gaoya, but he received a bone-chilling gaze from her. If you want to stand at the pinnacle of the continent, you must forsake friendship. It's true that it saved me, but so what? We can only blame the dragon for being too naive. Moreover, the ancestral dragon clan didn't know about it when we captured Long Luo. If we let the tiger return to the mountain, it will only attract the ancestral dragon clan's revenge, right? The people who had wanted to continue persuading Cheng Gaoya fell silent when they heard this. Indeed, if they allowed Long Luo to escape, what awaited them would probably be the ancestral dragon clan's maniacal revenge. Chapter 2075. Father has always only cared about Cheng Wuyin's son. Even now that Cheng Wuyin has gone missing, he only wants to find him. He has never considered that I'm also his daughter. Cheng Gaoya's expression was ice-cold, and her eyes were filled with an awe-inspiring chill. Since I'm not inferior to Cheng Wuyin, why can't I inherit the Cheng family? Just because I'm a woman? Cheng Gaoya had no respect for her father, only hatred. All of this was because of Cheng Wuyin's existence. Everyone was silent. Compared to Cheng Wuyin's gentleness, Cheng Gaoya was even more heartless and ruthless. She would not give up until she achieved her goal. Young mistress. At this moment, a person hurriedly walked in from outside the door and said while panting, the experts we sent to kill Long Luo are all dead. What? Cheng Gaoya stood up in shock, and her expression was exceptionally ugly. Dead? I don't think Long Luo still has that ability. Young mistress, I'm not lying. I saw the corpses of those experts with my own eyes, and they were all killed with a single blow. Under Cheng Gaoya's murderous gaze, the reporting guard subconsciously wiped off his cold sweat. He had not expected that the Cheng family's experts would actually die. Who had such an ability? Could it be that those aristocratic families want to snatch this ancestral dragon from us? Cheng Gaoya frowned slightly, and a cold glint flashed across her eyes. Young mistress, I found a jade pendant at the place where they died. Please take a look, young mistress. After saying that, the guard slowly walked forward and handed the jade pendant to Cheng Gaoya. Cheng Gaoya took the jade pendant. When she saw the shining word Qin on the jade pendant, she gritted her teeth in hatred. How dare the Qin family snatch my prey from my hands? They're simply audacious. Qin family. Cheng Gaoya's heart was filled with hatred. If the Qin family members were in front of her, she would immediately kill them. Why did the Qin family snatch Long Luo? The elderly pondered for a moment and said, could it be that Long Luo has a special status in the ancestral dragon clan? I heard that the eldest daughter of the ancestral dragon clan has gone missing. That's impossible. Even though Long Luo is from the ancestral dragon clan, her status isn't that high. Cheng Gaoya laughed mockingly when she heard that. Otherwise, do you think I would attack Long Luo? No matter how strong the ancestral dragon is, he still has to consider the strength of humans. So, at most, they will come looking for trouble. They won't go all out for Long Luo. Of course, things wouldn't be so simple if Long Luo was the eldest young lady of the ancestral dragon clan. Besides, she wouldn't be so foolish to offend that existence. Miss, this, how did you know? Cheng Gaoya merely smiled faintly in the face of the old man's doubts. I've asked Long Luo before. A pure dragon like her wouldn't lie. She said that she's just an ordinary being in the ancestral dragon clan, and not the missing young mistress. The old patient heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. Such an innocent and ignorant dragon would never lie. Therefore, her words had a lot of credibility. If that's the case, we can rest assured. Eldest young lady, should we set off for Qin City now? After all, we can't just give the ancestral dragon to those people from the Qin family. Chapter 2076. Okay. A cold light flashed across Cheng Gaoya's eyes. I'm going to ask the Qin family why they had the guts to steal my prey and kill my people. If they don't give me an explanation, I won't let this go. Just as Cheng Gaoya was about to settle the score with the Qin family, Yin Luo Feng and the others had already appeared outside Qin City. If she remembered correctly, the people who took Lin Ruobai's mother away were the Qin family. Feng, Long Luo had thought of many questions along the way. In the end, when Yin Luo Feng stepped into Qin City, she raised her large watery eyes and said with a conflicted expression, back then, in order to save me, you killed someone from the Cheng family. The Cheng family will find out sooner or later when that time comes. It's okay. I'm prepared. Yin Luo Feng stroked his chin and smiled. For a moment, Wu Yin and Little Worm looked at Yin Luo Feng curiously. Only Yin Xiao remained calm. Prepared for what? Yin Luo Feng smiled lightly. Do you remember that the Qin family experts sent people to the Holy Lady clan to capture Old Master and the others? At that time, I took the jade pendants off those people and threw them next to the Cheng family people. I'm sure the Cheng family thinks that the Qin family did it. The corner of Little Worm's mouth twitched. Treacherous. His master was always this treacherous. This was a dog-eat-dog fight between the Cheng family and the Qin family. All she needed to do was sit back and reap the benefits. Make way, all of you make way. Suddenly, an arrogant shout came from the side. At this moment, Yin Luo Feng clearly felt Long Luo's body tighten around her wrist. Her anger was about to explode, but in the end, she still held it in. Watch out. Just as Yin Luo Feng was muttering, Yin Zhao's voice suddenly came from beside her. Then, an arm reached out and pulled her into an embrace. Right at this moment, countless horses galloped from behind, barging and barging, as if the official road in front of the city gate was their home. In front of that group of people was a woman dressed in luxurious clothes. Her fine black hair flew behind her, making her look very elegant and moving. Yin Zhao's eyes darkened. He raised his finger slightly, and a stream of light shot out from his fingertip, hitting the horse's leg with a bang. The steed let out a tearing cry, bent its legs, and fell to the ground. At that moment, the woman placed her hand on the back of the horse and wanted to flip herself off. But before she could land, a heavy blow suddenly fell from the sky and smashed into her back. As a result, the woman's body fell heavily on the ground. She even fell face first, looking extremely battered and exhausted. Mississippi, the group of guards behind her turned pale with fright. They hurriedly dismounted from their horses and helped Cheng Gaoya up. They were so nervous that they did not dare to say a word. Cheng Gaoya's face turned from green to white, then from white to green. When she thought about how she had lost face in public, she gritted her teeth in hatred. Qin family. It must be the Qin family. They want to show me who's boss. Other than the Qin clan, who else would do such a thing? Unfortunately, they underestimated me, Cheng Gaoya. I will definitely make the Qin family pay for this. Cheng Gaoya clenched her fists tightly. She took a deep breath, raised her head, and puffed out her chest as she walked into the city gates. Just as Cheng Gaoya was about to walk past Yin Luofeng, Wu Yin instinctively hid behind Yin Luofeng and used the woman's back to block her own body. Chapter 2077. That was why Cheng Gao did not notice Speechless' presence. Yin Xiao. How could Yin Luofeng not tell that it was Yin Xiao who had attacked? Her heart was filled with emotion, and her entire heart was surrounded by warmth. She scared you, Yin Xiao said seriously. That was why I taught her a lesson. Hearing this, the corners of Yin Luofeng's lips curled into a playful smile. He teasingly hooked Yin Xiao's chin and gently planted a kiss on his lips. I love it when you stand up for me. No matter what the reason was, even though she had known Yin Luofeng for so many years, Yin Xiao's face still flushed suspiciously at the woman's blatant teasing. I like you too. Yin Xiao stared unblinkingly at Yin Luofeng. Her expression was very serious. No matter when, I will always be the same. Little Worm was used to the couple's display of affection from time to time. However, Speechless had not interacted with him for long. Hence, when she saw this scene, she was instantly dumbfounded. Was this the Ghost Emperor who was rumored to be cruel and heartless? To think that he would say such sweet nothings with a straight face. Yin Luofeng coughed lightly and smiled faintly. Yin Xiao, let's go. There should be a good show to watch soon. If not for the fact that Lin Ruobai's mother was still in the Qin family's hands, she would have immediately charged into the Qin family with Yin Xiao. Now, the most important thing was to find Lin Ruobai's mother. The Qin family's great hall, resplendent gold and jade. Qin Yuan stood respectfully in front of the Qin family's patriarch, Qin Tianlao. Father, I have done as you instructed. The people from those forces are on their way here. I believe they will be here soon. Good. Old man Qin's eyes flashed. I don't believe that we can't kill this woman if all the powerful cultivators of the windy continent join forces. Qin Yuan's lips curled. Whenever he recalled how he had left in such a sorry state, his heart would fill with anger and hatred. Patriarch, young master. Suddenly, the old steward quickly walked in and said respectfully, the eldest lady of the Cheng family, Cheng Gaoya, is here. Cheng Gaoya? Qin Tianlao frowned. The Cheng family's patriarch is not here. Reporting to the patriarch, only the eldest daughter of the Cheng family has come. The old butler lowered his head, his voice filled with respect. Let her in first. Qin Tianlao waved his hand and ordered. After a while, Cheng Gaoya was led in by the old housekeeper. As soon as she entered the hall, she asked sternly, "What is the meaning of this? Snatching things from our Cheng family? Hand over the dragon Luo immediately. Otherwise, our two families will be irreconcilable enemies." Qin Tianlao, who was still wondering why Cheng Gaoya was here, almost died of anger when he heard what she said. I don't know what you're talking about. However, if you want to make an enemy out of the Qin family, you should first consider your own strength. At the end of the day, you're only the eldest daughter of the Cheng family. Even if your father was in front of me, he wouldn't dare to speak in such a manner. Qin Tianlao's face turned cold as he said expressionlessly. Cheng Gaoya's gaze gradually turned cold. Your Qin family really doesn't dare to admit to your actions. You snatched the dragon Luo and even tried to put me in my place at the city gates. Is this how the Qin family treats their guests? If you don't return the dragon Luo to me, I will tell my father and ask him to seek justice for me. Chapter 2078. Qin Tianlao almost spat out a mouthful of blood. What did she mean by putting her in her place? He had just found out that Cheng Gaoya had come to Qin City. How was he going to put her in her place? Men, chase her out of here. Qin Tianlao pointed at Cheng Gaoya with a trembling finger. If he allowed this woman to stay, he could not guarantee what he would do. Two guards immediately stepped forward to chase Cheng Gaoya out. Seeing that the Qin family was unwilling to exchange the dragon vine, Cheng Gaoya flung her sleeves and turned to leave. She did not even look at the Qin father and son. Looking in the direction that Cheng Gaoya had left, Qin Tianlao took a deep breath. His breathing became unstable. This woman from the Cheng family is too impudent. How dare she cause trouble for the Qin family alone? Father, Qin Yuan was silent for a moment, then said, "Do you really think this is that simple?" "What do you mean?" Qin Tianlao was stunned and fell silent. "I think that Cheng Gaoya must have come here on the orders of the Cheng family master. Perhaps the Cheng family has been unhappy with the Qin family for a long time and is trying to find an excuse to attack us." Qin Yuan frowned slightly. His expression darkened as he thought of this possibility. That's right. Qin Tianlao had been so angry earlier that he did not think too much. Now that he had calmed down, he realized the problem. Cheng Gaoya said that I put her in her place. When did I do such a thing? The Cheng family must have found an excuse. The more Qin Tianlao thought about it, the angrier he became. He gritted his teeth. I never thought that the Cheng family would be this shameless. Father, it won't be long before the patriarch of the Cheng family arrives at Qin City. We must not let him enter. Otherwise, who knows what problems will arise. Qin Yuan raised his eyes. So, when the time comes, we must stop him outside. This time, Qin Tianlao did not stay silent. He nodded. All right, we'll do as you say. If he enters the city, it will definitely affect our plan. Poor master of the Cheng family. When he came all the way to Qin City, he was stopped outside by the Qin family. He was so angry that he turned and left Qin City. Later on, Cheng Gaoya added fuel to the fire, creating a deep conflict between the two families. In the inn, Yun Luofeng sat quietly in front of the table, while Yun Xiao silently accompanied him. As for Little Worm and Wu Yin, they stood in front of them. Missy, speechless, looked at Yun Luofeng. Perhaps sensing the inquisitiveness in her eyes, she said, "That woman today is actually my half-sister, Cheng Gaoya." This time, he finally opened his heart and decided to tell Yun Luofeng about himself. And then, Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows and asked, "Back then, my strength was sealed and I was reduced to the limitless continent because of Cheng Gaoya's mother." Yun Luofeng's finger lightly tapped on the table. "That's your family's business. I won't interfere with your business. If you want revenge, you can do it yourself. Right now, I only want you to do one thing. To find out the whereabouts of Lin Ruobai's mother, Mu Qingfei. Only after rescuing her can I make a move against the Qin family." "Leave this to me," Little Worm said with a grin. "I'm good at finding people. I'll find a person you're looking for very soon." Chapter 2079. Once he had finished speaking, the Little Worm's body instantly shrank until it was about the same size as Long Luo. Only then did it twist its body towards the door. "Wu Yin, what are you still doing here?" Yun Luofeng looked at Wu Yin, who was standing in front of him, and asked. Wu Yin was stunned. "Can I really go back and take revenge?" That group of people had caused him so much harm. He could not possibly forgive them. However, he was now following Yun Luofeng after all. Without Yun Luofeng's permission, he could not go back and take revenge. "I'll give you 1 month's time." Yun Luofeng swept a glance at Wu Yin. "Come and find me after 1 month." An indescribable feeling welled up in Wu Yin's heart. His eyes were filled with gratitude, and his lips moved a few times. "Thank you. You don't have to thank me. I only hope that after you and Xiao Ruoshui have fallen in love with each other, you could protect her well and not let anyone hurt her." The woman's voice was cold and evil, but made Wu Yin's expression gradually turn serious. Cheng Wu Yin, always do what I say and never go back on my word. All right, you may leave. Come and find me after you've taken your revenge." Yun Luofeng waved his hand and said calmly. Cheng Wu Yin looked at Yun Luofeng with one last grateful look before he turned and left without another word. Very quickly, he disappeared from Yun Luofeng's line of sight. Yun Luofeng watched Cheng Wu Yin's departing figure in silence, deep in thought. Suddenly, she felt the little fellow in her stomach kick her, causing her brows to twitch. "What's wrong?" Yin Xiao saw Yun Luofeng's frown and immediately became nervous. He gripped Yun Luofeng's hand tightly, a worried look on his handsome face. "It's nothing." Yun Luofeng shook his head, his palm gently caressing the little life in his stomach. "This little fellow was kicking me. I'm guessing it can't wait to come out." Yin Zhao's expression immediately turned ugly. His gaze, which was as sharp as a knife, shot towards Yun Luofeng's lower abdomen as he said sternly, "If you dare to kick your mother one more time, when you come out, I'll immediately throw you into the forest of no return." As expected, this threat was effective. The little fellow who had been kicking Yun Luofeng immediately stopped and waited calmly for its birth. At this moment, Yun Luofeng's stomach was already very obvious. It was round, and it made her waist a little uncomfortable. The soreness was unbearable. "Feng if you're really suffering from pregnancy, I don't want children." Yin Xiao carefully hugged Yun Luofeng's body, afraid that she would hurt him if she used too much force. "I only want you." Yun Luofeng rolled his eyes at him. "If your son hears this, he might not recognize you as his father in the future." Yin Xiao looked straight at Yun Luofeng. "To me, there's nothing more important than you. Call him selfish or heartless. In his heart, Yun Luofeng would always be number one. Even their children could only be ranked second. So, if Yun Luofeng's pregnancy really made her suffer so much, then he would rather not have anything. You don't want him, but I do. He's my son. No matter how hard it is, I will not abandon him." Yun Luofeng's expression darkened, and his expression became calm. Perhaps he had been angered by Yun Zhao's words. When Yun Xiao saw the woman's angry words, a hint of panic flashed across his face. "Feng, it's not that I don't love him. I just can't bear to see you suffer so much. If I can get pregnant in your place, if you want 10, I'll give you 10. Chapter 2080. In reality, Yun Luofeng wasn't angry at Yin Xiao. She was just trying to scare him. Who asked this fellow to abandon his son? But, hearing Yun Zhao's flustered explanation, Yun Luofeng couldn't help but laugh. "Actually, it's not like there aren't any ways for a man to replace a woman in pregnancy. Are you sure you want to go out with a big belly? Aren't you afraid of people laughing at you? What other people think has nothing to do with me. I just want you to relax a little." Yun Zhao's black eyes carried an unprecedented seriousness. "Feng, tell me now, what way can I replace you and make you suffer? I'm willing to bear everything myself." All these years, it wasn't that Yin Xiao hadn't done many things that had moved her. In fact, there were many. But at this moment, her heart was truly shaken. She never thought that Yin Xiao could do this. In order to reduce her fatigue, he actually dared to ignore what the world thought and replace her in pregnancy for 10 months? In this lifetime, who else could do this? I was just joking with you. How could there be such a way in this world? Joking? Yun Zhao's hand, which had been pressing on Yun Luofeng's shoulder, trembled slightly. Her expression was indescribable. She was definitely disappointed. But more than that, she felt heartache. "Feng, if there's a next life, I'll be a woman and you'll be a man. This way, you won't have to endure the pain of being pregnant for 10 months. Yun Zhao's gaze turned from disappointment to seriousness. "However, if there's any danger, I'll take care of it for you." Yun Luofeng gently stroked his chin and said with a smile, "Yin Xiao, I don't think that the two of us will have a next life." "Feng, you don't want to be with me in the next life?" "No." Yun Luofeng shook his head. "We only have this one life. But in this life, we can live until the end of the world. How can there be a next life? You and I, we only have one life. And in this life, we'll live a long life and coexist with the world. As long as the world isn't destroyed, we'll be together." Yun Xiao. Yun Luofeng's expression softened when he saw the heartache in a man's eyes. "I've survived so many trials and tribulations. Carrying a child for 10 months isn't too difficult for me. What's more, bearing a child for you is something that I'm willing to do. It's as sweet as syrup." Yin Xiao was silent for a moment before she said, "Previously, I looked up some books on women's childbirth. Those books wrote about the hardships of pregnancy for 10 months and the dangers faced during childbirth. More importantly, it was said that pregnant people would feel extremely depressed. Feng, you don't need to suppress it. If you're in a bad mood, you can kick me a few times. Don't stifle yourself. Yin Luofeng's face darkened. Where did you read those books? Who gave it to you? Yin Xiao felt a little guilty. Old man Jun, be good. Yin Luofeng stroked Yin Zhao's face. I'm different from others. With my medical skills, depression and childbirth will not appear. As for Grandpa Jun, I'll settle the score with him when I get back. Really? Yin Xiao was a little doubtful. It should be known that Grandpa Jun had previously said that 10 months of pregnancy was very dangerous. Otherwise, Yin Xiao wouldn't have said that she didn't want this son. When have I ever lied to you? Or are you saying that you'd rather believe him than me? Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows and asked with a smile that wasn't a smile. I believe you. Yin Zhao's heart, which had been on edge for so many days, finally settled down after hearing Yin Luofeng's words. Chapter 2081. In a secluded valley, Mu Qingfei sat calmly on a rock. Her cold and indifferent eyes flashed with hatred when she saw the man coming from behind her. What are you doing here again? Fei Qin Yuan's eyes were still affectionate. No matter how indifferent the other party was to him, he couldn't be angry with her. I just missed you, so I came to see you. And I also want to tell you one thing. He hesitated for a while and finally said, my father has gathered many experts in the world to take action against Yin Luofeng. Your daughter has been deceived by Yin Luofeng. It's very dangerous for her to stay by his side. If you're willing, I can bring her here for you and let you two reunite. Mu Qingfei snorted coldly. What's the benefit of staying in the Qin family? Will I be locked up by you for a lifetime? What's more, I won't believe a word of your words. Qin Yuan's face changed. He couldn't help but stretch out his hand and press on Mu Qingfei's shoulder. His eyes were filled with deep pain. Why are you doing this to me? It's been more than 20 years, and I still haven't warmed your heart? Is your heart really made of stone? Can't you see everything I've done for you? Qin Yuan's voice was close to a roar, and his eyes turned blood red. Then he sensed the change in Mu Qingfei's aura, and his expression softened. Fei the Qin family has many children. I've done so many things in order to obtain the sovereignty of the Qin family. I want to give you a noble status so that no one will dare to look down on you. Mu Qingfei glanced at Qin Yuan coldly. Status? Do you think I need this? I just want to stay away from the struggle and live a peaceful life with my beloved. Qin Yuan was stunned. Don't all women like power and status? He planned to conquer the world for her. Why was she still unwilling? Fei if you really don't like this place, I can take you far away and live a peaceful life. Before this, Qin Yuan had already thought about it. If Mu Qingfei wanted to leave, then he would give up everything and accompany her. The premise was that she would allow him to follow her. If there was no Mu Qingfei in this world, then what was the use of the power that he had fought for? Qin Yuan, don't you understand what I'm saying? Mu Qingfei flicked her sleeves and stood up. Her expression was cold and expressionless. What I'm saying is to spend a lifetime with the man I love, not with you. I've never liked you from the beginning to the end. In order to obtain me, you put me under house arrest in this place. Do you think I'll do as you wish? I'm telling you, even if I die, Mu Qingfei, I will never be your wife. Even if I die, Mu Qingfei, I will never be your wife. Qin Yuan felt as if a heavy stick had smashed down on his head, causing him to feel dizzy. His expression was extremely ugly, and he staggered slightly, as if he would collapse at any moment. Fei I treated you with sincerity, but you ruined my sincerity. Qin Yuan was completely furious. His palm pressed Mu Qingfei's shoulder tightly as he roared. If I really wanted to force you, you would have been my wife a long time ago. Qin Yuan was completely furious. His palm pressed Mu Qingfei's shoulder tightly and roared. If I really wanted to force you, you would have been my wife. The result is that no matter how good I am to you, you won't be moved. So why should I endure you? I'm telling you, today I will complete the ceremony of husband and wife with you. When he finished speaking, Qin Yuan fiercely pulled Mu Qingfei into his arms and tore her close. Chapter 2082. His eyes were like those of a bloodthirsty beast. They were red and wild, extremely terrifying. Get lost. Mu Qingfei's chest trembled with anger. Her beautiful face was cold as she scolded him rudely. Qin Yuan, if you dare to touch me, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. This sentence was said while Mu Qingfei was gnashing her teeth. The hatred in her eyes made Qin Yuan's hand tremble. He unconsciously let go of his hand and looked at Mu Qingfei with a pair of hurt eyes. I, Mu Qingfei, would rather die a broken jade than live in dishonor. If you force me, then you can only collect my corpse. Mu Qingfei wasn't afraid of Qin Yuan's actions. Her cold eyes were filled with coldness as she stared coldly at the man standing in front of her. Qin Yuan smiled. His smile was very bitter and filled with helplessness. I had originally thought that I would be able to let go of my feelings for you and force you to become my wife after hearing your heartless words. However, in the end, I still couldn't bear to force you. More importantly, he didn't want Mu Qingfei to leave this world. Qin Yuan gently closed his eyes. A long while later, he opened them again. His eyes were filled with a struggle. I also understand that no matter what I do, I will only receive your cold words. Since that's the case, why should we continue to be entangled in this? If you want to leave, then leave. I won't force you anymore. In this life, she was his calamity. He couldn't escape even if he was poor. If he could start over, he hoped that he would never meet this heartless woman again. This time, it was Mu Qingfei's turn to be surprised. She asked in disbelief, "You're really willing to let me go? Leave before I return." Qin Yuan closed his eyes again. His body was trembling violently for fear that he would go back on his words. Mu Qingfei took one last look at Qin Yuan. Her face was no longer as cold as before. Instead, she relaxed. From a beginning to the end, Mu Qingfei didn't say a word to Qin Yuan. It was just that her heart didn't hate him as much as before. Just as Mu Qingfei was about to leave, an old laughter suddenly came from the void. It shocked Qin Yuan, and he immediately opened his eyes. In the void, an old man walked out. His steps were strong and vigorous, and he didn't look old at all. His aura was like that of a transcendent being. He stood with his hands behind his back, his white robes fluttering in the wind. He was extremely powerful. Father! Qin Yuan's expression suddenly changed. Why did his father appear at this time? Qin Tianlao's gaze swept across Qin Yuan. Yuan, you've really disappointed me. I thought you've turned over a new leaf and are no longer the spoiled brat you used to be. However, I never thought that you would want to obtain the Qin family's power for this woman. Hearing this, Qin Yuan turned pale with fright. How long has father been here? What did he hear? But that's not all. I didn't expect you to be so useless. You can't even deal with a woman and were forced to let her go. Qin Tianlao lifted his chin and looked down at Qin Yuan in a condescending manner. His voice was bone-chilling, like a cold wind blowing past. Father, there's no point for Fei to stay in the Qin family. Why don't we just let her leave? I'm confident that she will fall in love with me. Qin Yuan's body was covered in cold sweat, and his face was pale. He lowered his head, not daring to look at Qin Tianlao. Is it really useless? Qin Tianlao slightly raised the corner of his lips. I heard that there's a little girl beside Yin Luofeng. This little girl is the daughter of Mu Qingfei. Do you think that Mu Qingfei is useless to our Qin family? Chapter 2083. Qin Yuan raised his head in shock and looked at Qin Tianlao in astonishment. He didn't seem to understand how his father knew about this. Do you really think I'm at ease with you? Qin Tianlao sneered. Ever since you came back, I've been inquiring about what happened. I also found out that the people of my Qin family lost their lives in the Sacred Lady tribe. If I remember correctly, Mu Qingfei was the Sacred Lady tribe's matriarch, and the current young matriarch of the Sacred Lady tribe is Yin Luofeng's disciple. More and more cold sweat appeared on Qin Yuan's face. He was so nervous that he didn't dare to say a word. Yuan, I really didn't expect you to hide so many things for a woman. Qin Tianlao shook his head, his tone filled with disappointment. Thump! Qin Yuan immediately knelt down and crawled toward Qin Tianlao. Father, I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. I will never make such a mistake again." As he spoke, he hugged Qin Tianlao's leg, his eyes filled with pleading. But in the next second, the spirit energy in his hand suddenly turned into a shackle, firmly locking Qin Tianlao's leg. "Fei, leave quickly." Qin Yuan hurriedly turned around and shouted at Mu Qingfei, "Leave quickly. The array on the back mountain hasn't been activated yet. You can leave directly." Mu Qingfei was stunned. She looked at Qin Yuan, who was hugging Qin Tianlao's leg tightly. Her eyes were filled with complicated emotions. "Yuan, you betrayed me for this woman?" Qin Tianlao still had his hand behind his back, looking sage-like. His eyes were filled with iciness as they landed on Qin Yuan's body like knives. "Father, I'm sorry. Fei is the woman I love the most in my life. No matter how many mistakes I make and how many people I kill, I don't want her to die in your hands." Qin Yuan knew his father's character. After knowing that Lin Ruobai was Mu Qingfei's daughter, he would definitely not let Mu Qingfei go. After all, many people in the Qin family had died in the hands of Yun Luofeng's subordinates. "You think you can trap your father with your little ability? You're really dreaming." Qin Tianlao raised his hand and slammed it down on Qin Yuan's head. With a loud bang, a powerful force penetrated through Qin Yuan's head, causing blood to flow down. "You should also know that what I hate the most in my life is betrayal. Even if you are my son, I will not forgive you." Qin Tianlao did not hesitate, as if the person in front of him was not his biological son. Qin Yuan's body stiffened, and he fell backwards. His gaze swept towards Mu Qingfei with nostalgia. With a bang, he fell to the ground and lay on the ground with his limbs facing the sky. "Qin Yuan." Mu Qingfei's heart was touched at this moment. She quickly ran towards Qin Yuan with a complicated look in her eyes. "Why did you save me? Fei, how good would it have been if the person who took you away from the 7 continents wasn't me? That way, he wouldn't have fallen in love with her at first sight, and Fei wouldn't have fallen to such a state today. Don't say anything. I'll take you away." All these years, Qin Yuan had put Mu Qingfei under house arrest. Therefore, she hated him in her heart. But no matter how much hatred she had, it all disappeared after the other party sacrificed so much without complaint or regret. Mu Qingfei lowered her body and trembled as she helped Qin Yuan's body up from the ground. Even her voice was trembling. Chapter 2084. Cough, cough. Qin Yuan coughed twice and coughed out a mouthful of blood, making his originally pale face even more bloodless. "Fei, if my death can make you remember, then I will have no regrets in my life." He pushed Mu Qingfei away forcefully, and his body staggered and fell to the ground. "Also, I lied to you before. Your daughter was not deceived. Yun Luofeng is very good to her. If you can escape, you can find Yun Luofeng. She will protect you." When a person is about to die, his words are kind. As long as Mu Qingfei can live, then he is willing to tell Mu Qingfei the truth. What's more, only she can protect Fei now. "Qin Yuan." Mu Qingfei's lips moved slightly. "Thank you. No matter how many wrong things Qin Yuan has done, he has never hurt her from the beginning to the end. Instead, he did his best to protect her." This word of thanks seemed to make Qin Yuan very satisfied. A smile appeared on the corners of his mouth as he slowly closed his eyes. There was no longer any regret in his heart. Mu Qingfei gently closed her eyes and clenched her fists tightly. After a long time, she suddenly opened her eyes and shot a sharp gaze at Qin Tianlao. "Why did you do this? He is your son. Even a vicious tiger will not eat its cubs. Why did you kill your own son? Traitors can only die." Qin Tianlao sneered. "Of course, as a father, I will definitely be more lenient to my son. So I will satisfy his wish. Doesn't he like you very much? Then you go down and accompany him." Boom! In an instant, Qin Tianlao's aura surged out, and with a bang, a powerful spiritual energy was shot towards Mu Qingfei. Under such a powerful aura, Mu Qingfei's body could not move. She could only watch the attack in front of her. Roar! At this time of crisis, a dragon's roar came out, shaking the entire sky. Then, the spiritual qi that had been attacking Mu Qingfei was instantly dissolved, turning into specks of light that drifted in the air. Everyone was stunned. But when Qin Tianlao looked up, a huge body directly rushed down from the void. Without saying a word, it picked up Mu Qingfei's body and quickly rushed out of the Qin family. A divine lord realm, ancestral dragon? People from the ancestral dragon clan? No, the ancestral dragon clan's divine monarch does not have this dragon. Qin Tian thought for a while and immediately ordered, "Men, inform the god monarchs that have reached Qin City. Let them encircle and annihilate this ancestor dragon." The ancestral dragon clan's blood essence was very precious, especially the ancestral dragon at the divine lord realm. Therefore, as long as they were told that the ancestral dragon had appeared, these humans would never give up. Qin Tianlao's eyes were filled with greed at the thought of this. Then he quickly rushed towards the ancestral dragon on the street. The noisy crowd had already dispersed at some point, leaving behind only silence. Carrying Mu Qingfei, Little Worm shot into the distance at lightning speed, heading towards the inn where Yun Luofeng was staying. From time to time, he would look at the people chasing after him, and a hint of savagery flashed across his eyes. Swish, swish, swish. Suddenly, countless figures appeared out of thin air, surrounding Little Worm in the middle. These people were all at the Divine Lord realm. Although Little Worm was also a Divine Lord, and with the body of the ancestral dragon, he was also one of the best among the Divine Lords. But after all, he had just broken through to the Divine Lord realm not long ago, so he did not have enough control over his power. In addition, he was not facing 1 or 2 Divine Lords, but 7 or 8 of them. This made him feel a little powerless. Chapter 2085. Let's see where you're going to run to. Qin Tianlao had already caught up from behind and blocked Little Worm's way. He lifted his head gently and looked at it expressionlessly. Although I don't know what your relationship with Mu Qingfei is, but I know that you definitely won't leave Qin City today. Roar. Little Worm roared and said angrily, "You bunch of bastards, what's the matter with you bullying a woman? My master and mistress are already on their way here. When they arrive, all of you will be wiped out." After escaping from the Qin family, Little Worm had told Yun Xiao what had happened here through spiritual telepathy. Yun Xiao and Yun Luofeng were already on their way here. Unfortunately, Qin City was too big. Compared to the 7 continents, it was a continent away. If they wanted to rush here, they would need time. A look of understanding flashed across Qin Tianlao's eyes. "If I'm not wrong, you're someone by Yun Luofeng's side, the Sir God that my son mentioned." "Humph!" Little Worm snorted. His claws were still holding Mu Qingfei, so he did not dare to be careless. "What does it have to do with you who I am? Just a few of you are not even enough to fill the gaps between my teeth." Extremely arrogant, Qin Tianlao snorted. "Let's go together and capture this ancestral dragon alive." As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Tianlao's body shot out like a bolt of lightning. In the blink of an eye, he was above Little Worm. His hand was like a machete as he slashed down fiercely. Luckily, Little Worm's eyes were sharp, and he quickly dodged the attack. With a sweep of his tail, he swiftly swept Qin Tianlao's body away. Qin Tianlao felt a fishy taste in his mouth, but he forcefully held it back. His gaze towards Little Worm was filled with murderous intent. "You're courting death." At the same time, the other Sir Gods also made their moves. Everyone launched their attacks. For a moment, Little Worm seemed a little powerless under the encirclement of these people. "These bastards, how dare they hit me?" Little Worm's body was punched, and it was so angry that its huge body trembled in the air. Its tail also swept the group of people back a few steps. Mu Qingfei was caught by the Little Worm's claws, but she didn't dare to move for fear of affecting the ancestral dragon's battle. "If you can't cope with it, put me down first and get reinforcements." Mu Qingfei hesitated for a while and suggested. This suggestion completely infuriated Little Worm. "What do you mean by that? You're saying I can't even protect a woman? If I were to abandon you and run away, how would I have the face to continue living on the continent?" He spoke as if he had never run before. Little Worm had completely forgotten how he had lied to the Dragon Clan and escaped when a certain divine spirit expert had come looking for trouble with him back when he was in the Dragon Clan. Now, he was actually concerned about his reputation. However, Mu Qingfei did not say anything after hearing Little Worm's words. Her eyes turned cold and filled with murderous intent when she thought of Qin Yuan's death. Little Worm was in a sorry state, and those divine monarch experts did not gain any benefits. Qin Tianlao's expression was very ugly. He didn't expect the ancestral dragon to be so thick-skinned. No matter how he hit it, it didn't hurt. If this continued, Yin Luofeng and the rest who were nearby would definitely rush over. He didn't forget that Qin Yuan had once said that Yin Luofeng had two Sir Gods. Chapter 2086. Just as Qin Tianlao was feeling anxious, the skies suddenly turned dark as if a layer of dark clouds had shrouded the entire sky. Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked over in shock. In an instant, they could see that in the sky, there were countless huge dragons swimming over. Their bodies were huge, like huge mountains. If they were to accidentally fall from the sky, they would definitely be able to crush a large group of people to death. It's the ancestral Dragon Clan. Qin Tianlao turned pale with fright. His eyes flickered as he looked at Little Worm in front of him, deep in thought. Patriarch Qin. A muffled voice was heard from the void. The voice was very old, as if it had come from a few centuries ago. It was like thunder exploding in Qin Tianlao's head, causing his ears to ring. May I know if you're Long Yin from the ancestral Dragon Clan? Qin Tianlao asked immediately after hearing the other party's identity. That's right, it's me. The giant ancestral dragon's voice was faint. I heard that you have news about the eldest miss of the ancestral Dragon Clan, so I rushed here. If you can tell me the truth, no matter what request you have, the ancestral Dragon Clan will fulfill your wish. The ancestral Dragon Clan had always kept their promises. Back when the eldest miss had gone missing, they had announced to the world that if anyone could find the eldest miss, the ancestral Dragon Clan would fulfill any of their requests. Elder Long Yin, did you not see what we're doing? Qin Tianlao's eyes flickered as he looked at Little Worm. I wonder if this ancestral dragon is from the ancestral Dragon Clan? Long Yin looked at Little Worm in surprise. He thought for a while and shook his head. I don't know him. Qin Tianlao heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that, but his expression remained unchanged. I saw the eldest miss next to this kid previously. In order to encircle him, I did not hesitate to seek help from other Sir Gods. I didn't expect this kid to deny it. However, although he is a traitor of the ancestral Dragon Clan, I'm willing to punish him on your behalf. Everyone was a little dumbfounded. They really admired Qin Tianlao's ability to lie. However, everyone on the mainland knew the temperament of the ancestral Dragon Clan. If these people from the ancestral Dragon Clan found out that the purpose of them besieging Little Worm was for his blood essence, the people from the ancestral Dragon Clan would never let them off. Therefore, they could only pour dirty water on the Little Worm. Oh, Long Yan's huge dragon eyes narrowed slightly as a powerful aura pressed down like a huge mountain. His sharp eyes immediately looked towards Little Worm. You're the one who abducted the eldest miss of our ancestral Dragon Clan. You're willing to believe humans over your own kind, so I have nothing to explain. Little Worm snorted and said mockingly. Long Yin looked at Qin Tianlao again and asked, Patriarch Qin, are you serious about what you said? You should know the consequences of deceiving our ancestral Dragon Clan. Qin Tianlao's expression changed. He held his breath and said, Elder Long Yin, I'm being kind and thinking for your ancestral Dragon Clan. Are you still doubting me? I, Qin Tianlao, am an open and above-board person. I would never frame someone. Moreover, if I wanted to deal with this dragon, I alone would be enough. Did I have nothing better to do, so I gathered so many powerful human beings? Wasn't it because I wanted to force him to teach the eldest miss? In the end, my good intentions were not rewarded. Chapter 2087. Under Long Yan's questioning gaze, Qin Tianlao's expression was filled with grief and indignation, as if he was an innocent man who had been wrongly accused. Long Yan turned to look at Little Worm again and frowned. If the eldest lady of the Dragon Clan is really in your hands, I hope that you can return her to the Dragon Clan. Little Worm's eyes were filled with indescribable disappointment. Before this, he had been filled with fantasies about the ancestral Dragon Clan and had even dreamed of the day he could return to the clan. But now, he felt an indescribable disappointment in his heart as he faced Long Yan's sharp gaze. I haven't even seen the eldest lady of the ancestral Dragon Clan. What right do you have to say that I've taken her away? Little Worm narrowed his eyes as a fierce light flashed through his dragon eyes. He raised his head and stared at the huge dragons that filled the sky as he spoke fearlessly. Master Qin's words are not unreasonable. If he wanted to deal with you, he wouldn't need to gather so many people and wouldn't need to accuse you. Long Yan's elderly voice was gloomy. However, on account that we're both from the ancestral Dragon Clan, hand over the eldest lady and I'll let you go. I guarantee that I won't hurt you at all. The Dragon Clan was arrogant. Once they had set their mind on something, even 10 oxen could not pull them back. Little Worm had a deep feeling about this. Hence, he could not be bothered to waste his breath on these people. A cold smile hung on his face as he said, I'd like to see how you're going to deal with me. Roar. A dragon's roar reverberated through the heavens and earth as Little Worm charged towards Long Yan in a flash. His movements were as swift as a gust of wind. You overestimate yourself. Long Yan scoffed, but he did not retreat. Instead, he charged towards Little Worm. Both of them were huge, and they were both from the ancestral Dragon Clan. So, their bodies collided and caused a tremor in the void. It was as if the entire void had exploded and the surrounding people were pushed 2 steps back by the force of the collision. Qin Tianlao's lips curled into a pleased smile. The ancestral Dragon Clan was considered an overlord on this mainland. Even if the few of them joined forces, they might not be Long Yan's match. If it had not been for the change that had happened to the ancestral Dragon Clan, causing the entire clan to disappear, the entire mainland would have been the ancestral Dragon Clan's world. Even so, the ancestral Dragon Clan strength was not something they could fight against. Bang. Little Worm quickly retreated a few steps back. He could feel his internal organs hurting terribly, and his vision was starting to blur. The ancestral Dragon Clan, Yin, and Long Mu Qingfei sneered and looked up at the arrogant face of Elder Long Yin. You can't distinguish between right and wrong. Just because of one person's words, you determine the crime of others. He said that we took the fucking Missy away, but what evidence does he have? Long, Yin said Long. Yin said, Yin Long, Yin said Long, and said, Yin Long as Yin, Yin he said. Long Tianlao, long as long ago he has said. Said, Yin he long said, Dragon Yin who said I, Qin Tianlao have not settled the score with me for seducing my son. How dare you be so arrogant in front of Elder Long Yin? Qin Tianlao's eyes were filled with murderous intent. I saw with my own eyes that this dragon abducted the eldest miss of the Dragon Clan. How can it be fake? Who in the world knows that I, Qin Tianlao, am magnanimous in doing things? I have never lied. Chapter 2088. That's right, Patriarch Qin wouldn't lie. It must be this dragon who refuses to admit it. I've seen the eldest lady of the Dragon Clan before. Patriarch Qin wasn't the only one. The others chimed in. Now that they were in the same boat, they would naturally help Qin Tian. The smile on Qin Tianlao's face deepened. He noticed the anger in Long Yan's eyes, and he felt even more pleased. The ancestral Dragon Clan was nothing more than this. They were actually left in the dust by this group of humans. The Dragon Clan had always been isolated from the rest of the world and did not know the evils of the human heart. I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the eldest lady of the Dragon Clan. Otherwise, don't blame me for not considering our kinship. Long Yin raised his head arrogantly. His voice was like thunder that resounded in the void. I'll say this for the last time, too. I don't even know the name of the eldest lady of the Dragon Clan, and I've never seen her before. Little Worm did not back down. There was no fear in his eyes. Instead, they were open and honest. Oof. Long Yin snorted and his aura spread out, causing the originally dark sky to be covered with dark clouds. It was so gloomy that it was difficult to breathe. I've given you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. You can't blame me. Roar. As soon as he finished speaking, Long Yin let out an angry roar, and a flame gradually began to grow from his mouth. In the end, it turned into a dazzling fireball as bright as the sun and instantly shot towards the little worm. Little Worm's eyes were solemn. He quickly used his claws to protect Mu Qingfei when he saw the sudden dragon breath, and used his thick body to block the attack. Bang! The attack landed heavily on Little Worm's body, causing him to tremble and almost spit out a mouthful of dragon blood. They were both Sir Gods. However, their abilities were not on the same level. Little Worm's body trembled, and he looked furious. The Ancestral Dragon Clan is so unreasonable. I'll never return to the Ancestral Dragon Clan. The Ancestral Dragon Clan doesn't care about your existence. The number of divine monarch powerhouses in this continent could be counted with one's fingers. Even so, it didn't mean that he was willing to accept the little worm, a dragon who dared to do something but did not dare to admit it had no right to enter the Ancestral Dragon Clan. Roar! Another dragon's breath rushed towards the little worm. The little worm wanted to dodge, but the dragon's breath seemed to have eyes of its own. It turned to the side and once again landed a heavy blow on its body. Fresh blood seeped out of his dragon scales, causing his huge body to sway for a moment, but he quickly steadied himself. Fortunately, he was also a divine lord. If he was only an ultimate god, he would have been turned into ashes by that powerful dragon breath. At this moment, not only did Little Worm have to face the opponent's attack, he also had to protect Mu Qingfei. As a result, he was unable to resist the dragon's breath and could only use his thick body to block it. Why isn't Master here yet? Little Worm became increasingly anxious. He had never thought that the Ancestral Dragon Tribe would interfere in such a matter. If this were to continue, he was afraid that, sooner or later, he would not be able to hold on. Boom! Boom, boom, boom. Explosions could be heard from time to time in the sky. Everyone could not help but burst into laughter when they saw Little Worm being beaten up in the void. Mu Qingfei, are you regretting rejecting my son now? Qin Tianlao curled the corner of his lips. Without my son's protection, you won't be able to survive on this mainland. It's funny that you don't know what's good for you. You're simply digging your own grave. Chapter 2089. Mu Qingfei didn't pay any attention to him. She was protected by the little worm in front of her, and her expression became more and more worried. Finally, under Long Yan's attack, Little Worm's body could not withstand his powerful strength, and he fell from the sky, landing heavily on the ground. Fresh blood kept flowing out of his mouth, and his eyes were filled with anger and intense hatred. I'll give you one last chance. Where's Eldest, miss? Long Yan lowered his head and looked straight at Little Worm, who had fallen to the ground. His voice was emotionless and very cold. Although they were both divine lords, there was a huge gap between them. For example, Little Worm had only broken through to Divine Lord not too long ago, but he had already stayed in this Divine Lord realm for hundreds of years. How could a little worm compare to the control of power in such a way? Little Worm closed his eyes and no longer paid any attention to this huge dragon. He never thought that at this moment, the cowardly him was not thinking of escaping, but of giving this stupid dragon a vicious beating. Looks like you're still determined not to tell me where Eldest Miss is. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being rude. Long Yin roared and his body dived towards the ground. He was very fast, like a sun charging down from the sky. Very soon, he was about to collide with Little Worm, who was lying on the ground. Boom. At this moment, a black stream of light suddenly appeared in front of Little Worm. The man was dressed in a long black robe. He raised his palm gently and blocked Long Yan's sharp claws. A murderous intent gradually appeared in his cold eyes. Long Yan was stunned. His claws were blocked tightly by the other party's hand and could not get any closer. Little Worm, who had been lying half dead on the ground, saw the two people who had descended from the sky. Tears flowed from his eyes, and he cried pitifully, "Master, Mistress, you're finally here. If you hadn't come, I'm afraid you wouldn't be able to see me in this lifetime." His tone was extremely pitiful, and when he looked at Long Yin, his eyes were filled with anger. This stupid dragon believed that old fart from the Qin family and said that I hid the eldest miss of the ancestral dragon clan. I haven't even seen their eldest miss, so why would I hide her? I will never go back to this kind of dragon race in this lifetime. Long Yan's eyes darkened. He ignored the little worm and looked at the cold man who had appeared out of thin air. He said coldly, "Are you all trying to meddle in other people's business?" "No." Yin Luofeng slowly walked to Yun Zhao's side. The corners of his lips curled into a demonic smile. "We're not here to meddle in other people's business. We're here to kill you." "Kill you?" Long Yin laughed heartily. "Little girl, what an arrogant tone. I want to see what ability you have to kill me." This man was also at the Divine Lord realm. How could a mere human contend against the ancestral dragon clan? He was simply courting death. When Little Worm heard this, he immediately jumped up from the ground. His body was enveloped by a burst of light, and in a moment, he had turned into a handsome and adorable little Shota. "Mistress, this fellow bullied me. You must kill him and cut him into pieces." Pan-fried. Little Worm glared fiercely at Long Yin. His gaze was as if he wanted to eat him alive, wishing that he could skin him alive. Mu Qingfei stood at the back and stared at the woman in white in front of her. There was a complicated look in her eyes. Chapter 2090. This woman, was this the master of his daughter that Qin Yuan had mentioned? The other dragons in the sky also moved upon hearing the commotion. Their huge bodies covered the sky as they stared at Yin Luofeng and the others. A battle between the two sides could break out at any moment. Long Yin roared angrily and ordered the dragon guards behind him to attack first. The wind and clouds in the sky surged, and the atmosphere was monstrous. It was also at this moment that a delicate shout was suddenly heard, piercing through the clouds and falling into everyone's ears. "Stop!" Light flashed on Yun Luofeng's wrist, and a crystal-like bracelet began to move. Long Yin's gaze had been on Yun Xiao at first, and he had not paid much attention to Yin Luofeng. Naturally, he did not notice the existence of the little crystal snake. The little snake left Yin Luofeng's wrist and jumped onto the ground. Her body gradually began to expand, and after a while, a huge crystal dragon appeared in their line of sight. The crystal dragon's transformation didn't stop. Her body was shrouded in light, and within this light, a cute and pretty loli slowly walked out. Long Yan's face was full of shock, and his eyes widened rapidly. Joy appeared in his eyes, but it quickly turned into anger. "There's another dragon?" Qin Tianlao's eyes were filled with surprise, but he quickly regained his composure. "So what if you have another dragon? You can't escape death. Lord Long Yin, this female dragon is in cahoots with them. You'd better get rid of them all." Under Qin Tianlao's disdainful words, Long Yin shouted angrily, "You bastard, didn't you say that you've never seen my eldest miss? Does this count as catching her red-handed?" It was like being struck by lightning. Qin Tianlao was completely stunned, and his body stiffened. What did Elder Long Yin mean by that? Catching her red-handed? What did that mean? As if he had thought of something, Qin Tianlao's head turned somewhat mechanically, and he stared in shock at the little girl who was walking toward Long Yin. It couldn't be such a coincidence, could it? He had only deliberately said this to frame these people. Who knew that they had really hidden the eldest miss of the ancestral dragon clan? Compared to them, Little Worm was even more confused. Long Luo was the eldest miss of the ancestral dragon clan? Wait. Long Yin seemed to have thought of something all of a sudden. He turned to look at Qin Tianlao and said in a cold voice, "Didn't you say that you saw my eldest miss beside this kid? Then what did you mean by your words just now? How dare you say that my young miss is in cahoots with these people?" Qin Tianlao shuddered fiercely and could not help but sweat profusely. "Elder Long Yin, I just did not recognize them for a moment. Now that they are caught red-handed, you must kill this group of people." Long Luo glanced at Qin Tianlao before shifting her gaze to Long Yin. "Grandpa Long Yin, is there a need to muster so many people just to find me? He even made things difficult for some innocent people. Eldest miss, you don't know how sinister the human heart is. Many people are unreliable, not to mention you're so innocent. Since I'm here, you should leave with me." Long Yin raised his head and swept his gaze over Little Worm and the others. Since you've appeared, I won't make things difficult for them as long as you leave with me. Long Luo held back her anger and said angrily, "The human heart is indeed sinister, especially these people here. How dare you believe their words and make things difficult for Little Worm and the others?" Eldest Miss. There was a hint of anger in Long Yan's voice. Master Qin is right. Aren't you right beside them? Even now, you still want to argue for this group of people? Chapter 2091. Qin Tianlao smiled smugly. He had hit the nail on the head. This time, Long Yin would never believe Yin Luofeng and his group. At this moment, Yin Luofeng had already given Yun Xiao a meaningful look. Yun Xiao nodded gently at her, and the aura around her body gradually rose. "I won't go back with you. If it weren't for Miss Yun and the rest, I would have died long ago. But not only are you not grateful to them, you even attacked Little Worm. Someone like you, who can't differentiate between right and wrong, has no right to educate me." Long Luo pushed Long Yin away in a fit of pique and walked back to Yun Luofeng's side. Her large eyes were still burning with anger, and her body was trembling with anger. Long Yan's voice deepened. "What happened? Life-saving grace? Could Eldest Miss have met with danger?" Long Luo looked angrily at the humans present. Whenever she thought of how they had framed Little Worm, she could not help but feel anger rise in her heart. She had just appeared. What if she wasn't here? Would the ancestral dragon clan hunt down Yin Luofeng and his group because of this misunderstanding? You want to know why? All right, I can tell you. I really didn't know who she was. I saved an ingrate, but she captured me and forced me to spit out my blood essence. These injuries on my body are also caused by her. Long Luo lifted her sleeves, revealing the scars on her body. These injuries were actually almost healed. Otherwise, she would not have been able to transform into a human form. But even so, Long Yin knew how many injuries Long Luo had suffered these past few days. His eyes suddenly narrowed as anger surged out, causing the entire sky to seem as if it was on fire. Luckily, I escaped when no one was paying attention, but those people caught up very quickly. If they hadn't saved me, perhaps, I would already be dead. Long Luo still had some lingering fear from what had happened that day. She bit her lip tightly, and her small body trembled in the breeze. At this moment, a hand landed on her shoulder as if silently comforting her. She turned back and flashed a bright smile at the little boy behind her. This flowery smile dazzled Little Worm's eyes and actually caused him to be unable to return to his senses. Long Yin, who had initially been aggressive, immediately became somewhat embarrassed when he heard Long Luo's words. His voice was no longer as arrogant as before. "If that's the case, it's just a misunderstanding. Fortunately, Patriarch Qin told me about you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to find you." Speaking of this, Long Yin felt somewhat fortunate. His heart was filled with gratitude towards Qin Tian. Unexpectedly, Long Luo's little face was filled with even more disdain when she saw his expression. "Grandfather Long Yin, you've been sold and you still want to help them count the money? I've never seen him before. When did he see me?" Qin Tianlao's expression changed. He laughed awkwardly and said, "Lady Long, you didn't see me, but I clearly saw you staying with this dragon. It's just that you don't remember me." "Oh, tell me, why didn't you recognize me just now?" Didn't I explain it already? You were too far away from me just now, so you didn't see it for a moment." Qin Tianlao endured the killing intent in his heart and smiled slightly. Long Luo tilted her head. "Then can you tell me what I looked like when you saw me? What does it look like?" How would he know? Although he thought so in his heart, Qin Tian would never show it. Chapter 2092. Young Lady Long, you must be joking. How you are now is how you were back then. Qin Tianlao smiled and defended himself. However, Long Luo could not help but laugh the moment his words rang out. "Grandpa Long Yin, don't tell me that you don't know that it's impossible for our dragon clan to take human form after we're injured. I've been recuperating ever since I met Miss Yun and the others. It's only just now that I was able to take human form. Little Lolita raised her chin high and looked at Qin Tianlao with disdain. Long Yan's body flashed and turned into an old man standing in front of little Lolita. He frowned and stared at Qin Tianlao coldly. I know that this Miss Mu Qingfei is the woman your son likes, and your Qin family has put her under house arrest. However, Miss Yan's disciple is her daughter, so Miss Yan came to find her. In order to deal with Miss Yan, you want to use the ancestral dragon clan. Am I right? Little Lolita smiled innocently. Her words were like pearls, making Qin Tianlao's face turn paler. Elder Long Yan, your young lady of the dragon clan has gone too far. She clearly had an affair with that dragon. In order to protect him, she splashed dirty water on me. Qin Tianlao's eyes flickered as he reprimanded. How dare you? Bang! Long Yan bellowed and punched Qin Tianlao, forcing him to take a few steps back. My young lady never lies. Qin Tianlao, I didn't expect you to use me like this. After saying that, Long Yan's furious eyes swept across the others. The murderous intent in his eyes made everyone tremble in fear. Even if they were all divine emperors, however, they did not have the ability to fight against the second-ranked expert of the ancestral dragon clan. Elder Long Yan, this matter has nothing to do with us. It's all Qin Tianlao's idea. They told me that an ancestral dragon had appeared. If we capture it, we can force it to spit out blood essence. By then, we can increase the strength of all the major forces. We were also fooled by him. Elder Long Yan, let us go. Look for that bastard Qin Tianlao if there's any problem. Everyone chimed in one after another, immediately selling Qin Tianlao out. Long Yan ignored them and turned his gaze towards Little Worm and the others instead. I'm very sorry for what happened earlier. Thank you for saving my eldest lady. The Ancestral Dragon Clan will definitely repay your life-saving grace. The power of the Ancestral Dragon Clan was one of the best in the continent. Therefore, Long Yan concluded that this group of people would absolutely not make things difficult for him. You injured Little Worm. Do you think an apology will solve the problem? Under Long Yan's arrogant gaze, Yin Luofeng raised her lips slightly. Her fingers gently stroked her chin as a dangerous glint flashed in her narrowed eyes. Then I'll beat you up and then apologize. I wonder if that's all right? Long Yan's expression changed. Little girl, where it is possible to forgive people, one should forgive them. This matter is indeed my fault, so I won't argue with you. Oh, the smile on Yin Luofeng's lips deepened. As I'm on the wrong side, what qualifications do you have to argue with us? Long Luo bit her lip and glared at Long Yan. She was on Yin Luofeng's side, so she was very angry with Long Yan's words. You. Long Yan took a deep breath and asked through gritted teeth. Then what do you want? Chapter 2093. I have always been a vengeful person. Yin Luofeng glanced at Long Yan coldly, his face expressionless. Let him bully the little worm the same way you bullied him. You. Long Yan's heart was filled with anger. He pointed at Yin Luofeng angrily, his eyes filled with anger. If this group of people had not saved Long Luo, he would not have been so courteous. Whoosh! Yin Xiao suddenly moved. His movements were as fast as a gust of wind. Before long, Yin could react. He was already behind him and slammed his palm down. Long Yin turned pale with fright and quickly turned around to block the man's attack. However, just as their attacks collided, he felt his whole body go numb. He took a few steps back, and his expression changed from the initial astonishment to a cold one. The next time you point your finger at my woman, I will make sure you have no fingers left. Yin Zhao's voice was very cold and filled with murderous intent. At that moment, Long Yin was so shocked that he could not extricate himself. If he was not wrong, this man had just become a divine lord not too long ago. Why did his heart tremble under his aura? Fear. Yes, an emotion called fear gradually spread in Long Yan's heart. Yin Luofeng calmly instructed. In an instant, Yin Yi's sturdy and mighty body fell from the sky and hit the ground hard. The moment they saw Yun Yi appear, the divine lords among the humans changed their expressions. Some even shouted at Qin Tianlao angrily, Didn't you say that there were only 2 divine lords among them? What's going on now? Can you give us an explanation? Qin Tianlao's face was pale, and his body was about to collapse. He used all his strength to support himself against the tree behind him and barely managed to stabilize himself. In terms of numbers, you think you can beat the Dragon Clan? Long Yin was so angry that his face was ashen. He roared, "Men, capture all these people who dare to humiliate me." Grandpa Long Yin. Long Luo's face was filled with anxiety. She looked at the huge group of dragons in the sky and gritted her teeth. "I'm here. Let's see who dares to attack." Long Luo was the eldest young lady of the Dragon Clan after all, so the restless dragons were stunned when they heard her words. They stopped in the air as if they were thinking about something. "He," Long Yin sneered. "Don't forget, before the clan leader let us out, he instructed you to listen to my orders in everything." He then looked at Long Luo and continued, "Eldest lady, don't worry. I'm just teaching them a lesson. They're your saviors after all. I won't kill them." Roar. A thunderous roar shook the entire sky. Long Yan's old face was cold. "What are you waiting for? Capture this group of people for me." In that instant, the dragons all moved. The pressure they exuded was immense, as though there were countless mountains piled up in the void. The pressure made it difficult for people to breathe. All of a sudden, a storm was brewing. Yin Luofeng stood under the strong wind with her white clothes fluttering in the wind. She was as beautiful as a painting. Her dark eyes were calm and emotionless. "The giant dragon clan does have a lot of experts, but you're the only Sir God among the dozens of dragons here." Yin Luofeng smirked. "If we're comparing ultimate gods, I'd like to see who's better than me." Boom. Chapter 2094. As soon as Yin Luofeng finished her sentence, a powerful aura rose from her body. At the same time, the spirit beasts in the divine grimoire space and the people from the Steel Flame Legion in the illusory formation all appeared. Fire, Little Imo, Cha-Cha, Xiao Shu, and Bai Xiao, who could leave the Tree of Life for a short period of time. Those spirit beasts were comparable to the ancestral dragon's aura. Even some of the people from the Steel Flame Legion had reached the ultimate god realm. Long Yan's expression became even uglier the moment the huge team appeared. He clenched his fists tightly with an obscure light in his eyes. As a member of the Dragon Clan, Long Yin was very arrogant. Similarly, he would not fight a battle he was not confident in. In particular, he could feel that Yun Zhao's aura was not inferior to his. "Little worm, how did he treat you just now? You can return it now." Yun Luofeng took 2 steps forward as a powerful aura burst out. His white robes fluttered in the wind. "If anyone tries to stop you, kill without mercy." She did not care who the other party was or where he came from. She only knew that if he hurt her, she would pay him back. Long Luo did not say anything. Although she was from the ancestral Dragon Clan, she did not think that Yin Luofeng was wrong. All of this was the result of Long Yan's stupidity. Therefore, no matter what Yin Luofeng wanted to do to him, he should bear it. "Eldest miss." Long Yan's expression was ugly as he turned to Long Luo, as if he wanted her to stand up and say something. Long Luo turned her head and deliberately did not look at Long Yan's eyes, but she snorted coldly in her heart. Long Yan was too arrogant. He was so lawless just because he was the second strongest person in the Dragon Clan. It would be good to teach him a lesson this time. "Miss." Long Yan's gaze fell on Yun Luofeng again with a threatening light in his narrowed eyes. "Let people off when possible. I, Long Yan, am the second strongest person in the ancestral Dragon Clan. Few people can defeat me even in the Divine Lord realm. If you really want to fight me, I won't let you off even if I die." The dignity of the Dragon Clan could not be violated. He did not want to retreat, even if he was not confident in this battle. "Why didn't you think of this when you were dealing with the little worm?" Yin Luofeng closed in on Long Yin once more. "Now that this has happened to you, you're saying that one should forgive where possible? How could there be such a good thing in this world?" Long Yan's eyes flashed. When he saw that Yin Luofeng was getting closer and closer to him, his arm suddenly turned into a dragon claw and swiped at Yin Luofeng. Unfortunately, before he could reach Yin Luofeng, A black figure had already landed in front of him. A fist, as hard as a rock, landed heavily on Long Yan's chest with a bang. Long Yan was instantly forced back a few steps, his face so dark that it looked like a storm was brewing. The ancestral dragons also moved at this moment. Their huge bodies swung toward the people on the ground. Qin Tianlao and the rest were affected as well. They were flung away by the tails of the ancestral dragons and fell to the ground in a sorry state. At this moment, the wind and clouds changed and thunder rumbled. The dragon's roar resounded throughout the sky, causing the residents of Qin City to hide themselves. They were afraid that this battle would affect them. Chapter 2095. A battle was about to break out. Just as the enormous dragon charged towards Yun Luofeng's group, a low and raspy voice gradually rang out in the air. It was like a heavy hammer, causing Long Yan's heart to feel as if it had been hammered, causing him to nearly vomit a mouthful of blood. The ancestral dragon clan is really daring. How dare they kill humans in my territory? Do they have any respect for me? As soon as he finished speaking, an elderly figure appeared in the sky. The old man stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He looked indifferent, sage-like, and righteous. Qin Tianlao was elated when he saw the old man. However, he immediately swallowed his words when he saw the old man's eyes. "You're a ruler?" Long Yan's face changed when he saw the old man, and fear flashed in his eyes. In this world, there was a type of person known as a ruler. A ruler was the ruler of the wind and cloud continent, the first person below the true god level. As they already had 1 foot in the true god level, their power was not something a Sir God could compare to. Just like the clan leader of the ancestral dragon clan, he was also a ruler. However, he was alone and naturally could not fight against these humans. Otherwise, he would not have been forced to hide in the ancestral sea and could not step out of it for the rest of his life. If it was not for the sake of finding the eldest lady, they would not have left the ancestral sea. It seems like the ancestral dragon clan has forgotten the agreement. How dare they invade our territory? This is unforgivable. Boom! The old man merely raised his hand, and Long Yan's body flew out in an instant, as if he had been pushed by something. He fell to the ground pathetically and looked at the old man in front of him with an ugly expression. "Miss," the old man turned to look at Yun Luofeng and said with a smile, "As a human, you are, of course, under the protection of humans. So, you don't have to be afraid. These people from the ancestral dragon clan have no way of fighting back against me." The old man's words were polite and friendly. For some reason, Yun Luofeng's heart surged with murderous intent when she faced the old man in front of her. Even she did not understand where this murderous intent came from. "Master," little Imo muttered to himself for a moment before replying, "have you forgotten that you once obtained Zhu Qian's inheritance?" The ruler of the Wind Cloud continent was the person who had once surrounded Zhu Qian. A cold light flashed in Yun Luofeng's eyes. She grabbed Yun Zhao's hand tightly and restrained the murderous intent in her heart. "Then shouldn't I thank you?" Her lips curled into a smile. Her voice was soft and ethereal as it slowly rang out. "There is no need to thank me." The old man did not hear the sarcasm in Yun Luofeng's voice at all. He smiled and said, "It's just that I think highly of your talent. I wonder if you would be willing to be a guest at my house." In that instant, all the humans present looked at Yun Luofeng with envious eyes. They didn't know what kind of dog's hit luck this woman had to be able to obtain the ruler's favor. If the ruler had taken a liking to them, then their futures would be limitless. "If I were to go with you, would I still be able to return?" Yun Luofeng sneered and retorted rudely. Yun Xiao did not say anything as he silently protected Yun Luofeng from the side. His cold eyes held a hint of vigilance as he stared at the old man. This old man was too powerful and was not on the same level as Long Yan. At the same time, Yun Xiao felt a sense of danger. Chapter 2096. The old man's eyes narrowed slightly, and an obscure light flashed through them. Then he smiled and said, "Miss, what do you mean by that? I only thought that you were talented and wanted to groom you. I didn't think that your vigilance would be so strong that you actually thought that I would hurt you." In a few steps, he walked down from the sky and stood in front of Yin Luofeng, facing the wind. I think that this lady is right. This time, you're just setting up a trap. Suddenly, a faint voice was heard. In that instant, everyone couldn't help but look over. It was an extremely handsome man. He was as beautiful as an immortal who had walked out of a painting. His entire body shone with light. The man held a flute in his hand. With light and slow steps, he gradually walked from a short distance to everyone's eyes. When Yin Luofeng saw the man, an inexplicable expression appeared on her face. Moreover, her eyes never left the man's body. Yin Xiao hugged Yin Luofeng's waist in jealousy. You could just look at me. This man looks so weak, there's nothing good to look at. His voice carried a strong sense of jealousy. Yin Luofeng retracted her gaze. I just feel that. He looks like someone I know. Yin Xiao was a little confused. Someone familiar? What kind of acquaintance does Feng have that he hasn't seen before? Zhu Qian. As if sensing Yun Zhao's confusion, Yin Luofeng's thin lips parted slightly, and he spat out this name. Zhu Qian. He never thought that they would meet again under such circumstances. You are. The old man frowned slightly. It was obvious that he couldn't tell who this man was. Actually, I don't know who I am either. The man smiled. His smile was very gentle, but it carried a feeling of keeping people at a distance. Besides this identity, I should have another identity. I've come here today because of this feeling. Can you tell me who I am? The old man's eyes darkened, but his expression did not change. I don't care who you are. Why did you frame me just now? Frame me? The man flashed an immortal smile, looking as if he didn't belong to this world. Whether or not I'm framing you, I'm afraid you know in your heart. I also know that we're enemies. Who exactly are you? For some reason, the old man felt a sense of familiarity when he looked at this man. However, when he thought of that person, he suppressed this feeling. Impossible. He couldn't be that person. That person was like a high and mighty king. Even all living beings in the world were trampled under his feet. How could the man in front of her be him? I've said it before. I don't know who I am. I just often hear a voice in my head. The man's calm eyes landed on the old man. That voice called me Zhu Qian. Do you know who Zhu Qian is? Zhu Qian? Boom. The old man's head exploded, and a look of terror appeared in his eyes. Zhu Qian actually came back? The man they had once regarded as a demon had actually returned? Back then, Zhu Qian had already been ambushed and was seriously injured. However, under the circumstances where all the experts on the continent had been mobilized, he was still able to kill half of them and break through the heavy encirclement. That battle was earth-shattering. From then on, Zhu Qian was crowned as a devil. He had originally thought that this man's soul had already dispersed. Who would have thought that he would actually come back? Chapter 2097. Looks like you really do know me. The man's lips curled into a smile. That smile was indifferent and ethereal. It actually seemed so unreal. Was my name in my previous life called Zhu Qian? The old man's expression had already calmed down from his initial anger. He laughed mockingly. I don't care what your identity was in your past life. However, I know that you do not have the power to control us in this life. Now that you've delivered yourself to our doorstep, I shall avenge my past humiliation and kill you. Boom. Suddenly, the old man's aura burst forth, and he instantly rushed toward Zhu Qian. His eyes were filled with killing intent, and it was clear that he was determined to kill Zhu Qian. The old man's aura was too strong. When he attacked, the surrounding ground was swept up by the hurricane brought by his body. Yin Xiao raised his hand and protected Yin Luofeng in his embrace. He used his sleeves to block the violent hurricane, and his cold eyes carried a stern look. Azure wings. Yin Luofeng shouted when he saw the old man rushing towards Zhu Qian. At that moment, Yin Yi's huge body appeared in front of Zhu Qian, blocking the old man's attack. Boom! A huge explosion rang out from Yin Yi's body. His body was instantly shaken off, his skin and flesh split open. Fortunately, Yin Yi was a puppet, so even though he already had consciousness, he still did not feel pain. Otherwise, he would have immediately fainted from the pain. Zhu Qian, Leave this place immediately. Yin Luofeng lifted his eyes and said coldly to the old man in front of him. At this moment, everyone's gazes once again returned to Yin Luofeng and Yun Xiao. The old man's expression was a little ugly. He raised his chin slightly and stood with his hands behind his back. He still had the demeanor of an immortal. Miss Yin, I just saved you. Why are you stopping me for the sake of Zhu Qian, the traitor of humanity? Yin Luofeng laughed coldly. This is the first time I've heard you speak of your own shamelessness and selfishness so naturally. Today, with me here, don't even think about touching a hair on him. Speaking of which, it was only her first time meeting Zhu Qian. However, Zhu Qian was her master. Without Zhu Qian, she wouldn't have been able to control the array formation and the puppet-making technique. More importantly, from the first moment she met Zhu Qian, she was filled with admiration for this man. That kind of respect was not only for Zhu Qian's strength, but also for his temperament. Miss, the man turned his gaze towards Yin Luofeng and smiled faintly. Do we know each other? You don't know me, but I know you. She had achieved what she had today by standing on the shoulders of giants. Whether it was the divine medical encyclopedia or the things that Zhu Qian had left for her, they had all allowed her to grow very quickly. The old man had not expected Yin Luofeng to be acquainted with Zhu Qian. His expression had already darkened, and he no longer had his initial friendliness and politeness. I originally wanted to groom you, but you are acquainted with this man. If I groom you, it would be the same as adding another enemy to the human race. But at this point, the old man's tone changed, and he continued. If you're willing to draw a line with him, I'm willing to give you a chance. Hearing this, those who were gloating couldn't help but sigh. It was truly infuriating to compare oneself to others. They didn't know how this girl had caught the eye of the ruler. As for her choice, it would certainly be to draw a line with this immortal-like man. Chapter 2098. No one would give up on such generous conditions. Yin Xiao. Yin Luofeng's expression was very solemn. If you fight with this old man, what are your chances of winning? 30%. Yin Xiao answered very truthfully. 30% chance of winning was not impossible. However, Yin Luofeng suddenly remembered that there was not just one person who had attacked Zhu Qian. In other words, there were still a few old men with this kind of strength in the spirit god mainland. What if all of them came? Then how confident would they be in this battle? Yin Luofeng's eyes flashed as she laughed coldly. If you really had good intentions and wanted to groom me, you would not have sent the Qin family to cause trouble for me. The Qin family would not have mobilized so many people for a branch disciple. Therefore, from the way Qin Tianlao had looked at the old man, Yin Luofeng could tell that there was something fishy between the two of them. Let me guess. Yin Luofeng stroked her chin, and the smile on her face deepened. I should have something that you want on me, right? And you're the only one who has discovered it for now. The rulers of this mainland have not sensed it. Otherwise, you would not be the only one here today. The old man's eyes were clearly shocked. Even if it was just a flash, Yin Luofeng still caught it. She was even more certain of her guess. Am I right? She raised her brows and smiled faintly. The old man's expression gradually returned to normal. So what if you are? If you die, I'm afraid that no one will know about this. This time, he did not deny it. Instead, he directly exposed his character. Since this girl had come here, he could not let her leave. Yin Luofeng shrugged and smiled. Even if you kill us, there are still others here. Someone will definitely spread the news. Do you really think that you can hide it from everyone in the world? If that's the case, then I'll just kill them all. The old man's tone was very indifferent. It was as if he hadn't killed a person, but an ant. However, the people who had been watching the show immediately became vigilant when they heard this. Some of them even instinctively stood together and looked at the old man warily. They didn't think that a promise would be effective against such a powerhouse. Now that he said such words, he would definitely do such a thing. You Tian, Long Yin roared. Don't forget, our dragon clan also has a ruler. Even if you humans rely on your numbers to kill our ancestral dragon clan. However, the strength of our ancestral dragon clan is still there. If you dare to touch us, The clan leader will not forgive you. The old man called you Tion glanced at Long Yin indifferently. I already have a way to deal with this. Do you think you have the chance to tell the ancestral dragon clan who the murderer is? Also, when I kill someone, I never let anyone find out that I was the one who killed them. After these words were spoken, Yu Tion's killing intent intensified. Even the entire sky darkened, as if it was enveloped by a layer of dark clouds. Yun Luofeng quietly looked at everything in front of him. The words she had just said were to put everyone on the opposing side of Yu Tian. Long Yin had remained fearless from the moment she had revealed her power. This meant that he must still have some trump cards up his sleeves. Now, after these words, the Dragon Clan and Yu Tian had completely become enemies. Then, they would be a little safer. Yun Xiao naturally understood Yin Luofeng's intentions right from the beginning. Hence, he only stood quietly by the side and looked at the beautiful woman next to him with a gentle gaze. Chapter 2099. Long Yan's face turned from green to white, then from white to green. He glared angrily at the cold and arrogant old man. Have you forgotten the agreement between the humans and the ancestral dragon clan many years ago? Agreement? Yu Tian smiled mockingly. What does that have to do with me? Anyway, no one will know that I was the one who killed the dragon clan. Isn't that enough? After saying that, he turned his gaze towards Yun Luofeng. A cold light flashed in his eyes. If you had been willing to leave with me, then so many things wouldn't have happened now. So, you can only blame yourself for not being sensible. In the beginning, he had not intended to use violence against Yun Luofeng. That was on the premise that Yun Luofeng would listen to him and leave with him. But now, this woman's temper was too unyielding. Being soft definitely wouldn't work, so he had to use force. When Long Yin heard this, he was so angry that his entire body trembled. He waved at Long Luo and said, "Eldest miss, come to my side immediately. I want to see how this group of people can shake the dignity of the Dragon Clan." Long Luo bit her lip and stood quietly beside Yin Luofeng. It was as if she had not heard Long Yan's words. Her large eyes were filled with stubbornness. "Eldest miss," Long Yin could not help but shout again. His tone was anxious. "I won't." Long Luo's eyelashes were very long and fluttered like wings. Her large clear eyes were filled with determination, and her adorable little face was flushed pink. "I want to be with Miss Yun. When she was in danger, it was this woman in white who descended from the sky and rescued her. From then on, she worshipped Yin Luofeng as a god." Yu Tian's body had already moved. He was very fast and was about to reach Yin Luofeng and the others in an instant. Yin Xiao was also ready to fight, but at this moment, Long Yin took a quick step forward and blocked Yu Tian. The other party's powerful energy penetrated his body, and it exploded with a bang. His body was also thrown out like a rag. Long Yin wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and stood up from the ground. His body swayed a little as he staggered towards Yu Tian. Very quickly, he walked over to Yu Tian's side. With his back facing Yin Luofeng and the others, he said, "I know that you saved the eldest Mississippi. I also know that based on our previous conflicts, I can't possibly beg you for anything. However, on account of the fact that eldest young lady chose you when she was in danger, you should bring eldest young lady away from here quickly. I will block him with the ancestral dragon clan." Long Yan's back was very stiff and his steps were slightly heavy, but he did not take a single step back. That's right, the conflict between him and Yin Luofeng was very deep, and he had also hurt the little worm. But Long Luo was the eldest daughter of the ancestral dragon clan. He was also the target that all the dragons had to protect with their lives. If the young miss could leave safely, he was willing to entrust her to Yin Luofeng. "You reptiles want to stop me?" Yu Qianni raised his hand, and his power surged out like a light wave, once again bombarding Long Yan's chest. Long Yan's body quickly flew out, and he spat out a mouthful of blood with a wah sound. He could not stop it no matter how hard he tried. "Grandpa Long Yan." Long Luo hurried to Long Yan's side, her eyes filled with worry. No matter how big of a mistake Long Yan had just made, his loyalty to the Dragon Clan would never change. Yin Luofeng looked at Long Yin, who was unable to get up, and frowned slightly. Could it be that she had guessed wrong? Did Long Yin not have any hidden cards? I'll publish one chapter first. There will be many more soon. Chapter 2100. Cough. Long Yin coughed again and spat out a mouthful of blood. His elderly face was pale. He pushed Long Luo aside and shouted, "Eldest lady, leave now." He staggered forward a few steps and almost fell to the ground. However, he managed to steady himself, and his elderly body was like a mountain. "Leave." Yu Tian's expression was still calm, but a cold glint flashed in his eyes. "I'm afraid you won't have the chance." When Yu Tian's aura grew stronger and stronger, the heavens and earth changed color, and the sun and moon lost their light. It was as if a layer of dark clouds had shrouded the sky, causing everyone standing on the ground to feel a deep pressure. Yun Xiao protected Yin Luofeng firmly as she stared coldly at Yu Tian with an expressionless face. "Little worm, Yun Yi and Xiao Mo, bring Mu Qingfei and Long Luo back to the illusory array immediately." Under Yu Tian's aura, Yun Luofeng felt an unprecedented sense of danger. At a time like this, the only thing she could do was to minimize the casualties. "Mistress." Little Worm's mouth twitched unwillingly. It was true that Little Worm was afraid of death, but when faced with true danger, he was unwilling to abandon Yun Luofeng and the others. Yun Yi's expression was a little bashful, but he was also unwilling to flee at the last minute. "Master, I'm a puppet." He hesitated for a moment before speaking in a hoarse voice. Puppets were immortal and had no sense of pain. However, as a puppet, if his bones were turned into ashes, no matter how powerful Yin Luofeng was, he would not be able to come back from the dead. "Go back, this is an order." Yun Luofeng's voice carried an unquestionable determination as he shouted fiercely. The other spiritual beasts were also very unwilling as they stood behind Yin Luofeng, unwilling to leave. "If it's just me and Yin Xiao, we're confident that we can come out unscathed. The few of you here will only distract us." Yin Luofeng's tone was very strict, and it stunned the spiritual beasts. Their hearts were filled with grievances. However, they also knew that Yin Luofeng was speaking the truth. This time, they did not resist. They grabbed the clueless Long Luo and Mu Qingfei and hid in the illusory array. Similarly, the Steel Flame Legion was also persuaded to return on the entire street. Other than the Sir Gods who had surrounded Little Worm, there were only her and Yun Xiao, as well as Grand Preceptor Feng Jin, who was Zhu Qian's reincarnation. As for the ancestral dragon clan, finally, Yin Luofeng looked at Long Yin and asked, "Do you have the confidence to defeat him?" Her voice came from within his soul, causing Long Yin to be taken aback. He looked at Yin Luofeng with a complicated expression and said, "Actually, I've already informed our patriarch. He's on his way here. What I need to do is stall for time. I asked Eldest Miss to leave just now because I was afraid that she would be in danger before the clan leader arrived. Stall for time?" Yin Luofeng's eyes darkened as his gaze gradually turned towards Yin Xiao. "Leave it to me." He held her hand and said firmly, "I won't let you be in danger." The man's words made Yin Luofeng's heart filled with warmth, and the corners of her mouth couldn't help but curl up. "All right, I believe you." She believed in Yin Xiao. She believed even more that as long as this man was here, any danger could be resolved. Yin Xiao slowly retracted her gaze from Yin Luofeng and turned her grim gaze towards Yu Tian. Her expressionless face grew even colder.